Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. My attributes are doubled infinitely, and I become a billion points stronger every day. Chapter 61. The old man Qi Ling reluctantly sent the magic core. Li Luyao reached out and took it, and immediately burst into laughter. Awesome brother, this old man has been playing chess here all morning and sent away 20 classmates. I didn't expect you to win. With so many magic cores, you can exchange them for a few hundred points. I think the first place in this exam must be you. Brother, do you want to sell your magic core? 1,000 pieces. I'll charge you whatever you sell. I'm not short of money. Hehehehe, this magic core can be exchanged for test points. If you just use money to collect it, you are cheating. It's amazing to have money. It's none of your business that I'm talking to this brother. Don't get involved. Why, it's none of my business. If you can buy a guaranteed admission with money, then our exam will be useless. If you want to buy and sell by force, I will be the first to report you. If you dare try it, I'm afraid you won't succeed. The onlookers were noisy. Before the master could say anything, they started to quarrel. If it weren't for the examination regulations that no fighting was allowed, these guys would have gotten into a fight long ago. When Li Luyao heard that this magic core could not only be exchanged for points but also pay back money, he was immediately a little excited. Anyway, the points could be redeemed again, and this windfall would be lost if he missed it, so he couldn't help but be eager to give it a try. If he could hold an auction on the spot and raise the bid directly from the ground, and the highest bidder would get it, he would definitely be able to make a lot of money. From then on, the serfs would turn into singing and become landlords. It would be exciting to think about it. The old man Qi Ling saw what he was thinking at a glance, and suddenly took out another bag of magic cores from nowhere, and said with a smile, "Young man, you just won my 50 magic cores, I want another 100, do you want it?" Of course Li Luyao wanted to, but firstly, the summoning time was coming, and secondly, there were so many people here that he couldn't let go, so he said, "I have to leave now. If you really want to have with me, come to me at night." Quote. Okay, it's a deal, see you at 8 o'clock in the evening. Li Luyao nodded and immediately gave Sao a look. The latter understood and immediately lifted the summoning spell, and Li Luyao disappeared in full view of everyone, leaving no trace. Hey, where are the brothers? Why did they suddenly disappear? This is an A-level teleportation technique. It's awesome. He actually knows such an awesome spell. No wonder he is the only one who can win the chess game. He is indeed a genius. I still want to buy magic cores from him. Do you know him here? Take me to find him. The introduction fee is 10,000. You really have the ability to make money. You are such a wealthy person. You even paid so much in introduction fees. It's really weird. I have no idea what that guy's name is or where he comes from. Are there any of his teammates here? Please help introduce him. Saola looked around and saw that there were no classmates from Yingchuan City here, so he weakly raised his hand. I know the classmate just now and can take you to find him. After hearing this, the rich second generation immediately pushed through the crowd and came over. Do you really know him? That's great, take me there quickly. Saola stretched out his big hand and said dully, I need more money. On the other side, Li Luyao, who was teleported back through the time and space rift, didn't know what happened after he left. It only took about 5 minutes for him to go back and forth, but he earned 50 magic cores. After that, whether he exchanged points or banknotes, he would definitely make a lot of money. He happily came out of the corner carrying a black bag, and was about to tell his teammates the good news. When he looked around, he saw that all his dear teammates were gone, and no one was waiting for him. He Rui, Chun, Shu Ning, where did you die? Li Luyao shouted loudly, and suddenly a response came from the distance. Shu Ning was seen waving to him from the parking lot. Captain, we are here, come quickly. Li Luyao said displeased. I told you that I would go to the toilet and ask you to stay where you are. Why did you all run away? This is so unruly. He complained as he ran towards the parking lot. Before he got close, he saw Shu Ning disappearing in a flash, still not planning to wait for him. What's going on? Everyone is leaving in such a hurry. Is there any danger? Li Luyao had a bad premonition in his heart, so he quickened his pace again, his figure like lightning and wind, bringing out afterimages. He hurried to the entrance of the parking lot and looked around, only to see that it was pitch black inside, without any lights and not a single person in sight. Shu Ning, don't hide and seek with me, kid, come out quickly. Li Luyao shouted, his voice echoing in the empty parking lot, but no one responded. It's boring. I have to work hard to get points today, don't play tricks like this with me. As he spoke, Li Luyao closed his eyes, and his telekinesis instantly extended into the darkness to detect the location of his teammates. He originally thought that those guys were just hiding in the dark, but the picture brought by his telekinesis instantly made him frown and look solemn. He clearly saw nearly 100 kinds of spiritual power fluctuations in the dark parking lot, of which 20 or 30 people belonged to candidates from all over the country that he had never met before, and the remaining 70 or 80 kinds came from various kinds of demons. The candidates' spiritual power was slight, and it was unclear whether they were injured or imprisoned. The spiritual power of those demons surged like flames, like hordes of wild beasts, waiting for him to walk into the tiger's mouth. So the Shu Ning I saw just now is also fake. This devil is really smart. He actually knew how to use his teammates to trick me into it. Li Luyao thought like this, and instead of retreating, he advanced forward and walked swaggering towards the depths of the parking lot. It was pitch black in front of me, no fingers could be seen, and the darkness was filled with the smell of dust and time. Li Luyao gave up looking at the road with his eyes and directly activated all-round spiritual perception. The surrounding images appeared in his mind like images on a night vision device. A motorcycle demon roared and crashed from a distance. The motorcycle was covered in fire. There was a skeleton rider sitting on it, holding a bone axe in his hand. He looked like a ghost rider coming from hell. Seeing that the speeding motorcycle was about to crush him into a meat pie, the bone axe was about to chop off his head. Li Luyao thought, and his clenched right fist also burst out with golden flames. The moment he easily avoided it, he punched the car body. Boom 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 boom, bang. The power of this punch directly blasted the demon and the car dozens of meters away. Explosions and screams were heard in the distance. Immediately afterwards, countless skeleton riders holding axes appeared around him, rushing towards him like a tide from all directions. Come. Li Luyao smiled, thinking that he was lucky today. He finally met someone who could confront him head-on, instead of those cowards who kept mumbling inexplicably. It should have been like this a long time ago. Men should fuck men, and come and chop me down if they are brothers. Li Luyao rolled up his sleeves and raised his fists. The golden flames shone in the darkness, showing endless fighting spirit. This is a move I learned from Zhou Rongrong last night. It uses fire magic combined with enhanced close combat. It can be called a melee mage girl killer. The main thing is a handsome and attractive one. Although Zhou Rongrong sneered at this, Li Luyao was very satisfied. He thought that he was a genius. He could perfectly integrate two unrelated superpowers. He even thought of a very special move for this move. A cool name. Come on, I'm going to fight 100 of them. Whoever runs away will be my grandson. The skeleton riders came over with giant axes, while the ghost riders in the distance attacked from the air on will-o'-the-wisp motorcycles. Some were holding fire blunderbuss, some were holding meteor hammers, and some were holding spears and bows. This posture is almost like a small army. No wonder Ah Chun didn't let them come here before. The number of demons here is obviously not something that candidates like them can deal with. If they rush in rashly, they will definitely be gone. Fortunately, Li Luyao was not an ordinary candidate. If it weren't for the fact that teamwork was required in the exam, he would have been turned upside down. The only thing he was worried about right now was the whereabouts of those stupid teammates. If they were all caught, they wouldn't be able to have a good fight. While he was thinking about his thoughts, he shuttled through the shadows of swords with light steps. The group of skeleton riders seemed to be numerous and powerful, but their movements were too slow, like slow motion in a movie, and they could not hurt him at all. He smashed the skull's head with one punch and kicked the skeleton until the skeleton was separated. He picked up an axe with his backhand and chopped melons and vegetables along the way, killing more than 10 enemies in an instant. Suddenly an arrow shot through the air and flew past his ear. Li Luyao was slightly startled, and then several spears pierced the back of his heart without any sound. Li Luyao turned around lightly to avoid it, and saw that it was the group of ghost knights flying in the air who took action. If you have the ability, come to a duel, don't step on the horse and shoot cold arrows from behind. Li Luyao gave him the middle finger and said contemptuously, don't think that because you are flying so high, I can't do anything to you. I will cut off your head and play it as a ball later. When the group of ghost knights heard this, they all laughed weirdly. The laughter was like the sound of countless teeth clashing together, and it sounded particularly intrusive. True to his word, Li Luyao suddenly jumped up and shot straight into the sky like a cannonball, directly knocking an unlucky knight away and grabbing his mount. The ghost knights in the sky laughed strangely again, driving their ghost fire motorcycles at high speed, surrounding Li Luyao in circles. Although Li Luyao didn't know how to drive, he had always ridden an electric car. He thought that the driving method of a motorcycle was similar to that of an electric car, but it was a little heavier and faster, so he held on to the clutch handle and planned to have a wonderful time, air chase. But before he had time to start, the ghost fire motorcycle under his seat rushed forward, not aiming forward, but flying backwards. Li Luyao stumbled and almost crashed. He squeezed the handbrake angrily, but the motorcycle didn't obey his orders at all, like a crazy wild horse, bent on throwing him off. If you don't obey me, believe it or not, I will punch you to pieces. Li Luyao threatened, and at the same time punched the fuel tank cap a few times with his right hand, letting the wild horse know how powerful he was. The will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle was beaten a lot, and I don't know whether it was because it was scared or frightened. It suddenly became more powerful and faster, jumping up and down all the way, shaking in the sky and on the ground, making a deafening roar. Li Luyao leaned down and hugged the car body, barely able to avoid being thrown off. He just felt that this old motorcycle seemed to have life, which could not be judged by common sense. If you don't listen to your kind words, you have to scold you, right? You kid, please calm down. Li Luyao's clasped hands pressed hard again, and the huge overwhelming force directly squeezed the car body until it twisted and deformed. The will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle tried to resist, but it was no match for the monster on its back. The entire body made a rattling sound, and the steel frames were forcibly broken. There was a loud bang, and the ghost fire motorcycle suddenly stalled and stopped. Li Luyao was worried that it would be scrapped directly, so he relaxed a little and asked, "Are you convinced? If not, let's continue to try and see whether I will be thrown off first or you will become a pile of scrap metal first." Do-do-do. The will-o'-wisp motorcycle made a strange sound and flashed its headlights, seemingly admitting defeat. Li Luyao smiled with satisfaction. That's pretty much it. Those who know the current affairs are heroes. You are still a little smart after all. Come on, take me back quickly, what the hell have you brought me to? After all this tossing, Li Luyao realized that the underground parking lot was like an underground maze. They had been driving for almost 10 minutes and they still hadn't reached the end. He didn't know what the demons had transformed this place into. The ghost riders and skeleton soldiers were left far behind, and only a few brave guys followed. Li Luyao put the gear in the gear and released the clutch and was about to return when he suddenly saw someone lighting a torch in the distance. A skeleton knight in a leather jacket waved to him and said, "This kid, you just robbed my car. Could you please return my red rabbit to me?" "Kitu, is this car yours?" Li Luyao took a look at him and recognized that the guy was indeed the unlucky guy who was kicked away by him. He smiled and said, "Your red rabbit has been tamed by me. From now on, you will be my mount. You will die, heart." The skeleton knight said anxiously, "That's absolutely not possible. My red rabbit has been with me for more than 10 years. She is almost like my girlfriend. There is no reason to give up my girlfriend to others, don't you think?" But Li Luyao didn't intend to reason with him, and said cheerfully, "Why not? I robbed it based on my ability. If you have the ability, just rob it from me." The skeleton knight said, "If you are willing to return the red rabbit to me, then I can tell you the whereabouts of your teammates." Li Luyao's face darkened, secretly thinking something was wrong. Good guy, those pig teammates were indeed captured. Can't we save people some peace of mind every day? Li Luyao cursed his mother in his heart, but his face remained calm and he said coldly, "Did they all fall into your hands?" The skeleton knight nodded. "In the past 2 days, more than 40 candidates have broken into the underground palace and been caught by us. All of them need to pay a ransom before they can leave. You are lucky, you can use my red rabbit and your pocket the magic core comes to redeem people. You still want the magic core. Li Luyao quickly covered his pocket and cursed. I won these magic cores with great difficulty. Others offered me 1,000 to buy them and I ignored them. Are you afraid you are daydreaming? The skeleton knight explained. These magic cores are of no use to you except for exchanging points. We, the ghost knights, have been collecting magic cores, which can help us complete our great cause. If you don't hand over the magic cores, no one alive can leave here today. At the thought of giving away the windfall he had just earned, Li Luyao felt extremely unhappy and said firmly, then try it if you have the ability. Am I still afraid of you? As soon as he finished speaking, Xu Ning suddenly appeared in the darkness. His hair was messy, his body was bruised and covered in blood, and he didn't know what kind of torture he had suffered. He was hung in the air by a heavy iron chain. When he saw Li Luyao, he immediately begged in surprise, Captain, please give them the magic core. Please, otherwise we will all be killed. Xu Ning. Li Luyao yelled and was about to fly to rescue him when a sharp bone blade was pressed against Xu Ning's neck. A skeleton soldier was standing nearby to prevent him from acting rashly. His grandma, if you have the ability to come at me, how can you bully a child? Li Luyao was so angry that his teeth itched, his fists clenched, and he urgently needed something to vent his anger. The skeleton knight in front felt a burst of terrifying psychic pressure. He took a few steps back in fear, bowed respectfully, and said, Young knight, please calm down, we have no ill intentions, and we are not your enemies. As long as you agree to hand over the magic core and we will release your friend immediately. Li Luyao remained calm and asked, where are the others? I want to see them. Of course that's no problem. The skeleton knight clapped his hands, and he Rui, Ah Chun, Mo Wang, Shu, Ma and Xiaoling were immediately escorted over. Each of them was in a daze and seemed to have no energy. It was unclear whether they were bewitched by demons or drugged. Li Luyao said coldly, what did you do to them? Why is everyone unconscious? The skeleton knight explained. They just drank the ecstasy soup and were temporarily unconscious. There is nothing serious. Okay, pay the money with one hand and deliver the goods with the other hand. If you want to play any tricks, don't blame me for killing you and leaving nothing behind. That's natural. We, the ghost knights, always do what we say and never break our promises. Li Luyao took off his school bag and threw it on the ground, expressionlessly saying, come and get it. Upon seeing this, the skeleton knight immediately ran over and was about to bend down to get it when a huge fist hit it on the head. With a crisp, click, sound, the skeleton knight's head was immediately smashed, and half of his body staggered away, but he was still able to speak. Kid, you have to keep your word. How can you go back on your word? Aren't you worried about the safety of your teammates? Do you believe it or not? I believe your mother is a ghost. Li Luyao scolded. You still want to deceive me with such a small trick? You think I am a 3-year-old child, go to hell. Li Luyao started the ghost fire motorcycle and roared towards Xu Ning who was hanging in the air. He looked like he was going to crush Xu Ning to death on the spot. The skeleton guard over there was so frightened that he abandoned his armor and ran away. Xu Ning, who looked miserable, also turned pale and cried, Captain, I am Xu Ning, don't kill me. There was another sound of bones being separated, and Xu Ning in the air was knocked into countless bones falling from the air. Li Luyao turned around handsomely and was about to get rid of the bunch of guys on the ground. The group of fake teammates also woke up at the same time, running faster than the other, not forgetting to turn around and yell. I may not be human, but you are really ruthless. You even killed your own teammates. You are so ruthless. Boy, don't run away if you have the guts. Our boss will personally come to deal with you later. This guy won't eat it if he doesn't eat oil or salt. He has to be thrown into the hell of a frying pan and fried until both sides are golden. The frying pan hell is too cheap for him. Why not peel off its skin, remove his bones, and use his head as a urinal? The group of skeletons got more and more angry as they scolded them, and Li Luyao was not going to let them go. A bolt of lightning came out from the will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle he was sitting on, crushing them into pieces in an instant. Then he turned back again, stopped in front of the skeleton knight, and looked at it quietly. I saw the skeleton knight carefully assembling his broken head, rejoining the bones one by one and piece by piece. It looked like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. The picture was a bit funny and a bit weird. Not long after, The skeleton knight shook his neck with satisfaction, smiled at Li Luyao with his restored face, and asked, "You are too strong, you don't look like a high school student at all. Are you really an ordinary candidate? I have never seen anyone like you." Li Luyao said rudely, "As a prisoner, you are not qualified to ask questions. Now it is my turn to ask you." The skeleton knight still asked, "How did you see through the evil spirit's illusion just now?" "We have arrested so many people with this trick." Li Luyao said coldly, "Don't show off such little tricks. As long as you understand a little bit of spiritual power perception, you will never be deceived. The fluctuations of spiritual power of demons are different from those of humans. The blue on your head as I can see the smoke even with my eyes closed." The skeleton knight's question was answered, and he sighed slowly. "Since I have the superpower of perception, I am convinced that I have lost. From now on, I will not say a word again, and you don't want to know anything from me." "What? Really, you don't want the red rabbit horse anymore?" The skeleton knight looked at his beloved will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle longingly and suppressed the urge to say nothing. Li Luyao sneered, and suddenly took action like lightning, directly taking off its head and hanging it on the handlebar. What are you going to do?" Skeleton Head screamed in terror. "Oh, don't you say nothing." The skull head immediately shut up. "Don't worry, I don't have time to torture you to extract a confession. I'll kill all the skeletons in this wretched place first, and then I will naturally know the whereabouts of my teammates. As for who your boss is, what is the use of your magic core? Little things don't bother me." Li Luyao increased his power and flew through the air. This feeling was no worse than the legendary flying with a sword. He thought that after solving the trouble here, he must go outside to have a good time in the blue sky. As for this will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle, it would be better if you could take it out after the exam. A little light gradually came from the front, and Li Luyao noticed a familiar fluctuation of spiritual power in the darkness. The entrance to the parking lot is already a mountain of corpses and bones. The ghost knights who were about to be killed just now are all lying on the ground, with a cute one standing out. And on top of the mountain of corpses, a silhouette stood against the wind, and it turned out to be Zhou Rongrong. "Teacher Zhou, why are you here too?" When Li Luyao saw the goddess, he immediately waved to her happily. Today, Zhou Rongrong is wearing a black leather jacket and leather trousers, with his sunglasses pushed up to his head, and he is playing with a thigh bone in his hand. He looks wild and completely different from the image of a teacher in the past. When she saw Li Luyao, she immediately said angrily, "I knew you were causing trouble here again. If you don't take the exam well, you will cause trouble for me day by day, right?" Li Luyao scratched his head and said with a wry smile, "I really wasn't the one to come. It was these skeletons who captured my teammates, so I was forced to take action against them." Zhou Rongrong didn't listen to his explanation at all and said angrily, "Nonsense. Your teammates are not here at all. This underground palace is a forbidden area and all candidates are prohibited from entering. Didn't anyone tell you?" "Forbidden area?" Li Luyao looked confused. "No one told me, I have no idea. What is this place used for?" Zhou Rongrong said impatiently, "There is a genius scientist studying necromancy magic here. These skeletons are her creations. No one has dared to come here to disturb her before. You have caused a big disaster today, and you may be directly disqualified from the exam. Do you understand or not? Necromantic magic will directly disqualify you from taking the exam." Li Luyao panicked. "Then is it too late for me to leave now?" Zhou Rongrong rolled her eyes. "Gungan, get out. Give me all the magic cores on your body before you leave, and I will use them to apologize." "Ah, okay." Li Luyao handed over the magic core honestly, and a strange feeling suddenly surged in his heart. The spiritual power fluctuations on Zhou Rongrong's body had always been crystal white ice and snow before, but today they turned into black and coquettish flames. In addition, her faint fragrance, tone of voice, delicate eyebrows, and even the demeanor of her gestures are a little different from usual. Although the appearance is still the same charming beauty, the same proud figure, the same slightly bad temper. But the guy in front of him was by no means the dream lover he longed for. Zhou Rongrong flashed and came directly in front of Li Luyao. While taking away the backpack containing the magic core, he muttered, "I guess you know some good things, otherwise I will definitely not be as good as you." "Yeah," Li Luyao muttered to himself, and a brilliant light suddenly burst out from his right fist, golden flames burned brightly, and he punched away. Yes, that's what you should do. Anyone who dares to impersonate Zhou Rongrong will never be forgiven. Use flame fist on her. The fist burning with golden flames lit up the dark underground parking lot and hit the fake Zhou Rongrong hard. His punches were extremely fast, and he completed the sneak attack without the opponent being prepared for it, hitting Zhou Rongrong's head almost instantly. With powerful strength and lightning speed, combined with fire elemental magic, this punch is so powerful that even if the guy in front of him is a legendary A-level demon, his brain will definitely burst and his whole head will be destroyed. Directly blasted away. The fake Zhou Rongrong was slightly surprised. Before the flaming fist touched his cheek, a bone barrier appeared out of thin air without any warning, directly blocking the sneak attack. You dare to take action against me? Zhou Rongrong glanced at him with disdain, but before he finished speaking, Li Luyao's fist struck again. This time, it was more powerful and powerful. The most important thing was that Li Luyao confirmed the guy's true identity through the bone barrier, so his anger turned into overwhelming power and poured out without any scruples. Boom, boom, boom. There was a loud sound, like a rhythmic drum beat. Li Luyao's fist successfully broke the bone wall, and he came to Zhou Rongrong like a broken bamboo. The golden flame took the lead in igniting her long hair, and was about to burn her to ashes. Since you want to play, then I will play with you for a while. Don't cry later. In an instant, Zhou Rongrong flew directly to the mountain of corpses. He snapped his fingers with his right hand and ordered, "Don't lie down and pretend to be dead. Get up and greet the guests." After the words fell, the Ghost Knight Legion, which had just left corpses all over the ground with only skeletons left, immediately got up from the ground, countless bones flying in the air, and used some magical magic to reorganize the corpses. But in the blink of an eye, the group of warriors holding giant axes, the skeleton soldiers, were ready to go and surrounded Li Luyao again. Trapped in a tight siege, Li Luyao did not panic. He didn't care much about the miscellaneous fish around him. He kept staring at the aloof leader. There is no doubt that this guy is probably the leader of this group of evil knights. As long as if you can capture her, all problems will be solved. Who are you? Why do you pretend to be Rongrong? Rongrong, what you call is really affectionate. Is there anyone who calls me teacher like you? The man smiled sweetly, and suddenly raised his hand and tore off the human skin mask, revealing a charming and delicate face of a snake and scorpion. He hooked his fingers at Li Luyao and said, "You little guy is quite capable, why don't you come with me? My dear, I promise to make you happy every day. I'm sorry, I have no interest in corpses and I don't have necrophilia. Your body is not worthy of carrying Rongrong's shoes." "Kid," the femme fatale woman said angrily, "I recruited you to give you face. If you don't know what I'm doing, I'll turn you into a rotten skeleton right now." Li Luyao was not afraid at all and responded, "Come on, I'm still afraid of you. Although I don't like beating women, there is no difference between male and female corpses." Li Luyao jumped up and stepped on the heads of many skeleton soldiers to gain some strength. The next moment he came to the mountain of corpses and shouted, "Fire fist!" Golden flames fell from the sky and ignited all the bones in just a moment. The snake and scorpion woman couldn't help but dodge. Her body was floating around in the air, and she didn't know what spell she was using. How come you, a person with enhanced abilities, can use magic to attack? And why is this flame golden, and why can it even burn bones? Li Luyao certainly has no obligation to answer the enemy's questions. He only has one purpose now, which is to press this woman to the ground and rub her hard until she calls her daddy. Wind God Palm. A hurricane blew past, causing the sea of fire to become more and more turbulent. Under the obstruction of the huge wind, the teleportation magic of the snake and scorpion woman seemed to be affected, and her slender body kept swaying in the air, as if she was about to fall down at any time. Li Luyao seized the opportunity and came to her in a flash. He stretched out his hands and grabbed her throat tightly to prevent her from slipping away again. The femme fatale woman didn't panic, she just smiled and said, "What? You want my body now? Didn't you just say you are not interested in my sister?" As she spoke, she leaned forward, as if she wanted to offer her fragrant lips. "Be honest with me." Li Luyao used his hands hard, and it was difficult to dodge for a while, so he could only try his best to push her away. The woman's neck was like a loach, extremely smooth and delicate. Suddenly, his hands were empty, and the woman's head flew away from her body, biting Li Luyao's ear. Are you a rat? Li Luyao tried to pull her away with his backhand, but the woman was so strong that she bit his ear and held on, as if she wanted to eat him. As long as you are poisoned by my corpse poison, you will obediently fall under my sister's pomegranate skirt. Hey, what's wrong with your ears? Why can't you bite them open? Li Luyao laughed and said, I didn't expect that you dared to bite my steel iron bones without fear of breaking your teeth. Of course, the woman didn't know that Li Luyao's physical attributes were far from ordinary. While she continued to bite her hard, Li Luyao took advantage of the situation and put her head in with his school bag. Then he zipped up the zipper and completely she pretended. Ha 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 ha, there's nothing we can do now, please be more honest. Li Luyao punched her a few times through his school bag, then sat her down on the ground and suppressed her with all his strength. On the other side, the woman's headless body chased him and waved a full fist at him. The skeleton soldiers in the distance also attacked with great force. When they saw the boss being pinned to the ground, they didn't know what to do. Little devil, move your butt away from me. Believe it or not, I will eat your balls right away. Li Luyao not only refused to listen, but also deliberately twisted his buttocks and rubbed against his school bag, saying happily, with your strength, I can't even bite you. If you are convinced, let's have a good talk. If you are not convinced, we can't bite you. Let's continue and see who is the boss. I have been so unlucky for 8 lifetimes that I met a monster like you. Children, come here and tear him apart. There is no need to show mercy to him. The boss gave the order, and the ghost knights immediately launched a general attack. Groups of skeleton soldiers came to kill them, and then quickly retreated. In a moment, there were piles of corpses all around. Their reloading speed could not match the speed of the Honkai impact, and they were not busy at all. Don't come. Li Luyao had a great time fighting. He swung his school bag and used it as a meteor hammer. It was a good move. He was not afraid of hurting the woman, nor was he worried about attacking too harshly. Anyway, the enemy was already a group of skeletons. It didn't matter if he died a few times. Boring, your subordinates are too weak. If there are any more powerful ones, please call them all. Li Luyao took a short break and continued to complain, your method should be the legendary necromancy magic. Are you a human, a ghost, a demon or a skeleton? The woman was tortured for a long time, and the army of skeletons under her were killed to pieces. She had long lost her previous arrogance and said in a low voice, no, I am a demon. Li Luyao was a little confused. It was the first time he heard about this profession and asked, what is a demon? The woman said angrily, half human and half demon or of course a demon. You don't even know this. Didn't the teacher teach you? Be honest with me, don't be so arrogant, you think I don't understand, right? Li Luyao gave her a fist and said fiercely, what is your name, what did you do before, and why did you become a demon? Come to me for real. I'm really convinced. How can there be a monster like you among the candidates in this year? I'll recruit them all, why don't I recruit them all? The woman complained a lot and finally got the job done. My name is Lu Wen, and I am a native resident of this town. Years ago, the devil came to this land, and countless people died tragically. I accidentally swallowed the devil's fragments, and thus became a devil. My ability is necromancy magic. I am good at making dead souls into skeleton soldiers. This parking lot is my test base. I am a non-staff member of the Superpower Management Bureau. Because of my special status, it is inconvenient for me to go to the outside world, let alone be known to ordinary people, so I have been engaged in necromancy research in the town. At this time every year, I also cooperate with Qingbei University to provide special recruiting candidates, just like the Demon of Absurdity, the Demon of Banquet, and the Demon of Fear. Last night, we are all part of this exam and there is no malicious intention. Quote. Li Luyao blinked his eyes, confused, and said hesitantly, are you sure you're not lying to me? Can you believe what you say? Lu Wen sighed. It's now like this, what's the point of lying to you? Yes, Li Luyao thought the same thing. Now he is the one who controls the overall situation and he is the winner. Lu Wen has no trump card. What about my teammates? Were they captured by you? No, I originally wanted to catch them. After all, it is my task to send the candidates out, but there is a little girl among them with amazing perception. My necromancy illusion had no effect on her, and they all ran away. Li Luyao breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that Ah Chun was finally reliable, otherwise he would have been a really bad teammate. Then why did you pretend to be wrong to lie to me? Steal my magic core and turn me into a skeleton. Even if you are an examiner, you have gone too far. What if I really die? Lu Wen had no choice but to explain. You candidates all have special teleportation stones on you. When your life is in danger, you will be forcibly sent away. The security level of the special recruitment examination has become more and more perfect in recent years, and nothing will go wrong at all. As for those demons nuclear, this is a state secret, and I can't tell you at my level. Can't you tell me? Li Luyao wanted to punch her again, but thinking that this guy was an examiner, he had no choice but to vent his anger into the air, just to scare her. Lu Wen asked again, where did your magic core come from? This town looks scary, but in fact it has been transformed into a haunted house. Most of the demons are demons pretending to be demons. It is impossible for there to be so many magic cores. Li Luyao saw that she was very curious, so he also kept the secret. First tell me what the magic core is used for, and then I will tell you where you got it. To be honest, I made an appointment with the old man tonight. You can also win more magic cores by playing chess. Quote. Lu Wen hesitated for a moment, then suddenly cursed. You brat are already so strong, why do you need a magic core? This thing is like a drug, it will only make you crazy and out of control, without any benefit. Li Luyao said unhappily, but I heard that after turning in the magic core, you can exchange it for points. There are also classmates who paid a lot of money to buy it from me. You actually said it's useless. Lu Wen became even more angry when she heard this. You just want points for a long time, fine, give me the magic core, and I will double your points. Li Luyao shook his head and said, that's not possible. If you want to hand it over to me, you can only hand it over to Rongrong. I still can't trust you. Rongrong is getting longer and longer every day. It is understandable that you like the examiner. After all, no man can resist her charm. But I suggest not to give her the magic core. It will be more useful in my hands. Quote. Li Luyao became a little impatient. After talking for a long time, you still haven't said what the use of this thing is. If you don't explain it carefully, why should I give it to you? Okay, I'm only going to tell you this. It's best if you forget it immediately. Do you understand? Clear. Lu Wen finally gave in and quietly revealed the answer. Demon cores are equivalent to the bones and blood of demons, similar to the demon pills in monsters. They contain extremely powerful power. Ordinary people who eat the demon cores will awaken superpowers and become demons. Demons are powerful, far beyond ordinary people. Superpowers. But if you want to stay awake, stay rational, and continue to become stronger, you need to keep hunting demons and eat more demon cores. This thing is both an antidote and a drug for us demons. Although the above will give me some regularly, the quantity is still too small. If I can get more magic cores, my necromancy magic will definitely be able to complete the second advancement. When the time comes, you won't have to be trapped in this hellish place. You should understand now, right? Li Luyao nodded and said thoughtfully, although you want it very much, these things are mine after all. If I don't give them to you, you can't take them away. After all, I still hope to exchange them for points. Of course, if what you said is true, I can consider using the magic core to exchange you for some other treasures. What do you think? When Lu Wen heard this, she immediately became interested. Okay, no problem. What do you want? Cheats to pass the level, necromancy, or other test answers? Li Luyao exclaimed. You really dare to do anything for the magic core. But let me tell you in advance that I will not cheat, and I will never allow you to cheat for me. He pointed at the will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle in the distance. How about I trade a piece of magic core for your motorcycle? No, at least 10 yuan. Why don't you go and rob it? I could obviously drive the car away, but since you are paying for it as an examiner, don't push yourself too far. Lu Wen was not polite. This will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle is blessed with my necromantic magic, so it can go up to the sky and do anything on the earth. Where can you find such a cool motorcycle? It can fly. Quote. Li Luyao felt that what she said made sense, so he had to bargain. Anyway, 10 pieces of magic core are too expensive, 5 pieces at most. You can sell it or not. 9 yuan is the lowest, no more. Li Luyao said coldly. 4 yuan. 8 yuan, 8 yuan, my heart is already bleeding. $3. 7 yuan is enough for the head office. How can you, a man, be so picky? How can you chase after our examiner like this in the future? 2 pieces. Lu Wen raised her hands and surrendered. I'm really convinced by you. Just 5 yuan for 5 yuan. I've never seen anyone as good at bargaining as you. Hey hey hey. Li Luyao grinned happily. Deal. After completing the transaction, Li Luyao drove out of the parking lot on his motorcycle. Following Lu Wen's message, he successfully found his missing teammate in the alley outside the community. This group of guys were enjoying fighting the fish demons, not taking the captain who had left the team seriously, as if they could have more fun without the captain. Li Luyao laughed angrily and stopped nearby on his motorcycle. Scout Ah Chun was the first to spot him and cast a look of disgust at him. Where did you go and fool around, and it took you so long to come back? Li Luyao was also unhappy and said, I asked you to wait for me under the flower bed, why did you run away? Ah Chun said calmly, after you left, there was a guy pretending to be you and wanted to take us into the parking lot. I saw that the situation was not good, so of course I took the people away. Li Luyao gave her a thumbs up and praised, you are worthy of being the backbone of our team. I will use my power as captain to appoint you as the deputy team. I don't want it, it's too much trouble. Ah Chun was very dissatisfied with this reward and asked, you didn't go to the toilet at all just now, right? I can't feel your spiritual power fluctuations in the whole community. Did you use teleportation magic to leave? Li Luyao scratched his head and said frankly, I did leave for a while, did a few big things, and brought back many good things. As he said that, he took out all the magic cores in the bag and said excitedly, let's exchange all these magic cores for points, some for the team and some for individuals, what do you think? Not very good. Ah Chun had a cold expression and seemed to be very offended by these demonic cores. The team members in front of them just happened to deal with the fish demon at this time. When they saw Li Luyao returning to the team, they immediately came over. Captain Li, did you fall into the toilet just now? We couldn't find you anywhere, and you were almost attacked by bad guys. Xu Ning put his arm around Li Luyao's shoulders, looked him up and down, and smelled him carefully, as if he wanted to confirm whether the captain had really fallen into the toilet. He Rui also complained, Captain, that neighborhood is really not a place for people to live. There are monsters and monsters everywhere. If Ah Chun hadn't been so sensitive, we might have really wiped out the team. Hey, you motorcycle, it's a nice car, and it shines. Where did you find it? Let me ride it. Mo Wangshu snorted coldly. Can you tell me if you want to leave next time? Just disappear without saying a word. How on earth did you become the captain? Ma Xiaoling added. That's right, you don't know how worried Wangshu is about you, for fear that you will be captured by the devil. Mo Wangshu quickly argued. I'm not worried. It's best if this scumbag is dead. Li Luyao apologized and told about playing chess with the old man Qi Ling. Then he showed the magic core to everyone and said proudly, we will find a proctor to exchange the magic core into team points. In the evening I made an appointment with the old man to continue playing chess, and I can still win a lot of money. This speed of gaining points is much better than hunting down demons everywhere. Xu Ning said, Captain Li, you won this by yourself. Just exchange them all for your personal points. You don't need to share them with us. He Rui, it's useless for me to ask for points or something. I don't want to be eligible for a guarantee. Give me this motorcycle to ride. Mo Wangshu, you can still win the magic core in chess. How can such a good thing happen? I have never heard of it. Are you talking nonsense? Ma Xiaoling, these magic cores look so dangerous. Captain, don't you feel nervous if you bring these things with you? Everyone was talking to each other, and the chaos made Li Luyao a little irritable. He waved his hand and issued an order, I am the captain. Just listen to my arrangements. I want to get the first place in the exam. Both the team points and the individual points must not fall behind. Don't hold me back. I understand. What? Xu Ning. I understand, Captain Li, I listen to you. He Rui. You ride the horse instead of letting me ride the motorcycle. Mo Wangshu. I won't listen, what can you do to me? Ma Xiaoling. Captain, don't be angry. We know it. If we can survive tonight, we might all be able to get a walk off. Little Loli's words made Li Luyao think of something, and he asked curiously, what kind of monsters will there be tonight? Ma Xiaoling said, last year, I was sent away on the second night. At night, many S-class demons came out to hunt everywhere. No matter where we hide, it's useless. Those demons are too scary. Is it scary? Li Luyao shook his head and smiled bitterly. Having been affected by false news before, he also believed that this town was a lawless place. It was a forbidden area for humans, rampant with demons, and had a 10% mortality rate. It could indeed bring some tension and excitement. But ever since I learned the truth about the exam from examiner Lu Wen, all the sense of mystery and crisis was gone. In the final analysis, this dangerous town is just a carefully arranged haunted house. Demon hunting, strange adventures, and dangers are all just questions for this year's special recruitment examination. They are tests for the candidates by the examiners. The worst outcome is just being forcibly sent away by the teleportation stone. There is nothing to be afraid of. Boring. This was not the exam I wanted. It's just like playing house, it's so boring. Li Luyao wanted to tell everyone these newly understood truths, but was worried about disturbing their interest. No wonder Ah Chun always had an expressionless face. It seemed that this guy had already seen through everything. Get in the car. Let's go to the proctor and hand over the magic core first. It's too dangerous to carry these things with you. Li Luyao waved and invited the team members to get on the bus. Xu Ning took the lead, grabbing the back seat and hugging Li Luyao's slim waist. He Rui said angrily, there are 6 of us, can your motorcycle fit on it? Or do you want to pick us up in batches? Ma Xiaoling also said, that's right. Your car can only seat 2 people at most, how can there be other seats? Li Luyao smiled and said, 2 are hung on the handlebars, 1 for the front seat and 1 for the back seat. Let me think about the other one. By the way, you can stand on my shoulder. When Mo Wangshu heard this, his eyes almost rolled to the sky, and he refused directly, you are doing Indian acrobatics here, and I don't want to do that. However, he really happily sat in front of Li Luyao and even tried to grab the car handle. The 3 boys squeezed into a meat bun, which looked particularly funny. Li Luyao said happily, don't wait any longer. Come up here quickly and tell you that my motorcycle can fly. If you don't sit on it, then I'm leaving. Go away, we won't sit down. The 3 girls formed a united front and vowed to refuse this shameful ride-hailing behavior. Li Luyao didn't force himself. He immediately started his motorcycle and flew into the sky, fulfilling his dream of flying with a sword in a way that completely violated Newtonian mechanics. Hey, teacher, you were hiding here. I said you can't find it anywhere. On the roof of a residential building, the invigilator Zhou Quan, who was smoking, drinking and playing games, was surrounded by Li Luyao and others. He glanced at Li Lu, and then at the Ghostfire motorcycle under his seat. Of course he knew what happened in the underground parking lot. This car fell into the hands of the candidates, which obviously did not comply with the exam rules. He had already done this. It was reported, but he didn't bother to mind other business as to how to deal with it. Why don't you go kill monsters and get points? Why are you looking for me? Are you too busy? Zhou Quan slowly exhaled a puff of smoke and said angrily, now is the time when the competition is most intense, and this is just a waste of your own time. Li Luyao chuckled, quickly got off the motorcycle, and said with a smile, teacher, we are here to hand in the magic core. I would like to ask how many points can be exchanged for a piece of magic core. Zhou Quan took the magic core from his hand, and after confirming its authenticity, he asked curiously, where did you get these things? Don't say they were exploded by killing monsters. I won it by playing chess with an old man in a small alley. The old man sent away many candidates. Don't you know? Li Luyao thought that the other party was pretending to be stupid. After all, the old man claimed to be a chessboard spirit who had lived for 700 years. It was unreliable at first glance. He could openly gamble and give away magic cores. This was too much like a hidden level in a game. There is a high probability that a certain examiner is pretending to be here to deliver benefits. Zhou Quan frowned and said, I did hear the students say it, but the old man only appeared for a while and disappeared after losing the game. It turned out that you beat him. Give me the magic core. I don't know how many points it will be. The examiner will mark it down for you, don't worry. That's okay, thank you teacher. Li Luyao handed over the magic core and soon drove Xu Ning and He Rui away. The will-o'-the-wisp motorcycle sped away in the sky. The word, low-key, probably didn't exist in the dictionary. This battle was probably going to be a battle for all the invigilators in the town. The officials all knew. What a troublesome guy. Just wait until Zhou Rongrong comes to deal with you. Zhou Quan threw away his cigarette butt, reluctantly turned off the half-played game on his phone, and made a call to the examiner. Zhou Rongrong will be here soon. As the examiner, she is very busy these days. Any sudden or special events must be reported to her immediately, especially when it comes to the safety of candidates and the traces of demons in the town. Don't make any mistakes. It is said that the teleportation stone on every candidate is also made by Zhou Rongrong. It is a bit humiliating for such a super powerful genius to be in charge of the admissions of Qingbei University. Logically speaking, she should lead the dragon group to attack the demon army everywhere. No matter how bad it is, she will have to do it. It is only right to lead the national team to deal with those troublesome foreigners and show our country's prestige. Why waste time on such a trivial matter? When he thought that he would see the goddess in his dream later, Zhou Quan couldn't help but be a little distracted. All his thoughts were focused on the various anecdotes about the goddess, so that a goat demon suddenly appeared behind him, and he was completely distracted. Didn't notice it. These magic cores belong to Lord Dracula, you have no right to touch them. The goat demon shook the candle in his hand and said something in broken Chinese. Then the flame on the candle suddenly disappeared and burned on Zhou Quan in the next moment, setting fire to all his clothes. What a fool! Zhou Quan was awakened by the flames on his body, and suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. When he turned around and saw the goat demon as tall as a mountain, he cursed, "What the hell are you? I didn't bother you, but you took the initiative to send it to my door. Already." The goat demon grinned and said, "The corpse is talking." Quote. Zhou Quan frowned, and an ancient simple knife appeared in his hand. He is a genuine A-level ability user, and his ability is a rare weapon type. With a simple sword in his hand, when using it with all his strength, he can combine the human sword with the sword, and can kill all things. The suit he is wearing is a special work suit from the Superpower Administration. It is invulnerable, waterproof and fireproof, and can withstand most elemental and enhanced attacks. It is better than the most high-end body armor in the army. Although he didn't feel the heat of the flames at this moment, there seemed to be an unknown fire in his heart. The fire burned his soul and awakened countless dark past events. The goat demon spoke again, and said coldly in a condescending and judgmental tone, "When you were 5 years old, you stole ham from the supermarket. When you were 10 years old, you beat up your teacher. When you were 16 years old, you abandoned your first love girl. At the age of 16, you abandoned your first love. At the age of 25, you hit someone with a drunken car and escaped. At the age of 25, you tortured a prisoner to confess. At the age of 30, you went out on a mission and killed innocent people. You have been full of evil in your life. Now I sentence you to death according to the will of Lord Dracula. You burn to ashes." After the words fell, Zhou Quan began to scream in pain. The fire in his heart was burning fiercely, burning his soul to pieces inch by inch. "What kind of magic did you use to step on the horse? Who are you to judge me? You have no qualifications. I have already changed my ways. I am a good person. I do my duty to maintain peace. Before he finished speaking, Zhou Quan fainted and fell to the ground like a mummy. His eyes widened in horror. He didn't know what killed him until his death. The goat demon leaned over to pick up the school bag filled with magic cores, and disappeared out of thin air, as if he had never appeared before. The next moment, a breeze blew by, and Zhou Rongrong fell from the sky. The aura of the demons around her had not completely dissipated. When she saw Zhou Quan lying on the ground, his expression instantly became extremely serious, with a rare hint of murderous intent on his delicate little face. "Am I late?" Zhou Rongrong muttered to himself, then suddenly put his finger into his mouth and bit it hard. The blood flowed out and quickly condensed into a blood ball in the air, which was particularly eye-catching. She waved her sleeves, and the blood ball flew to Zhou Quan's eyebrows and stopped. As the light flickered, the blood ball expanded rapidly, and finally turned into a red balloon and dragged Zhou Quan inside, protecting his last breath. Come here, call an ambulance. Attention all examiners, from now on, the inside and outside of Dead Town will enter a level 1 alert state. The hunting trial tonight will be cancelled. All candidates must be protected before the murderer is found. There is no room for any mistakes. Zhou Rongrong issued an order to the air, and responses from all directions appeared in her ears at the same time. The ambulance is already on the way and will arrive at the scene in 3 minutes to start rescue. Death Town has entered the first level of alert, and all demons' whereabouts will be closely monitored. Tonight's hunting trial has been cancelled. The candidates will be gathered at the International Hotel in the evening. The safe mode of the teleportation stone is activated. If the situation continues to deteriorate, this special recruitment examination will be directly interrupted. While Zhou Rongrong was in chaos, Li Luyao was riding his willow wire motorcycle with his teammates to play around, and he was so happy. Ever since he knew that the entire exam was just a game of house, his mentality has changed 180 degrees. No matter what kind of devil he meets, he just finds it ridiculous. He beats the examiners while praising their acting skills, and even score the test questions secretly and guess the other person's thinking on the question. This mentality made him regard hunting demons as a recreational activity, chopping melons and vegetables and collecting points with his hands. He was so relaxed and comfortable that he no longer worried about the safety of his teammates even if he encountered danger. It's all a game anyway, there's no life-threatening danger at all, why should you care so much? For a whole day, Li Luyao drove his motorcycle to show off in the town. He attracted a lot of attention and made other candidates extremely envious. Some people even offered him a high price to buy a mount, but he was naturally rejected. He was not going to give this powerful tool to others, unless, of course, they really gave it too much. Unknowingly, it was getting late. Li Luyao was looking forward to the demon attack at night and the chess game with the old man Qi Ling. He led everyone back to the 102 secret base to take a rest. Captain Li, I'm so hungry. I've finished my rations. Xu Ning lay on the ground and shouted loudly, looking like he was dying. Li Luyao said with disdain, "Are you a pig? 3 boxes of compressed biscuits have to be taken care of for 3 days. How come you ran out of them so quickly?" Xu Ning said aggrievedly, "It's not like you don't know how much our enhanced ability users eat. Captain Li, do you still have more? Share it with me." Li Luyao searched in his backpack, took out the only remaining box of biscuits and threw it over. "Save some, this box will last until the end of the exam." He, thank you Captain Li is the best." Xu Ning took the biscuits and started eating them. He looked like a pig that had been hungry for 7 days, which was really unflattering. He really looked at it and his mouth watered, and he also shouted, "Captain, I want to eat too." Li Luyao said angrily, "Where's your own biscuit? Don't tell me you've finished it too. You're a magician, not a muscular man." He really said embarrassedly, "Well, I seem to have lost mine on the road. I can't find it anywhere. I've been hungry all day, and now I'm dizzy and exhausted." Li Luyao wanted to punch him, but reluctantly held back and said to Ah Chun, "Vice Captain, do you have many cookies? Share some with him." "Oh." Ah Chun took out the biscuits and gave some pieces to Hirui, then asked, "Do you want them?" Li Luyao shook his head and said casually, "No, I can make magic bread." Ma Xiaoling's eyes lit up when she heard this, and she exclaimed, "Magic bread is a spell that the great mage can only learn after he awakens his recovery ability. Can you do this? Captain, you are too powerful." Li Luyao said proudly, "What's all the fuss about this little trick? Do you want to try it? I can do it for you right now." Okay, I've never had magic bread before. Watch it." Li Luyao cast a spell on the spot, planning to show off his holy attire in front of others. But although he had a good idea, he tried hard several times but failed. He was a little embarrassed, and the air was filled with deafening silence. "It's unscientific. I've always done it this way. Why doesn't it suddenly work?" Based on his past experience, Li Luyao first held his breath and then activated his imagination, imagining that he was hungry and eating a lot, so that he could make magic bread out of the things in his mind through the visualization of his mind. He confirmed that the method was correct, but for some reason today, it just didn't work, and he couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Is it because I'm not hungry now? Li Luyao scratched his head and said helplessly, I'm not in a good state today. I'll make it later and give it to you. Oh well. Ma Xiaoling walked away disappointed, and Mo Wangshu took the opportunity to say sarcastically, this scumbag is lying to you. Don't believe anything. How can he, a muscular man of the strengthening system, know the elemental and restoration spells? That's not Cheng San, he's an ability user. Ma Xiaoling thought the same thing. Yes, I am too embarrassed for the captain. Quote. Li Luyao couldn't laugh or cry, and couldn't explain it, so he had to lie down on the sofa and pretend not to hear anything. Although I feel a little embarrassed about pretending to be a failure, it's okay. After all, I didn't consume much today. I can just try again when I'm hungry in the early morning. As night fell, under dim lights, the familiar card table was set up again, and everyone was fighting while waiting for the evening trial to arrive. Suddenly there was a fluttering sound from the balcony, and a white owl flew into the room, stopped on the old-fashioned TV, and screamed at everyone, attention all candidates, everyone must gather at the International Hotel before 8 o'clock. Tonight the trial is cancelled, and no demon hunting activities are allowed. Violators will be directly disqualified from the special recruitment exam. Everyone in the room was stunned, a little confused about the situation. Only Li Luyao touched his chin and said excitedly, I have to guess right. This owl must have been sent by some devil. The purpose is to trick us into going to the International Hotel and catch them all. Brothers, tonight's trial refining has begun. The white owl stared at him stupidly and shouted again, all students must gather at the International Hotel before 8 o'clock. The trial is cancelled tonight and no demon hunting activities are allowed. Note, this is not a drill, this is not a drill. Li Luyao became even more happy after listening. Good guy, your acting skills are quite professional. Many candidates will definitely be deceived by your tricks, but I'm sorry, I won't be easily fooled. The white owl flapped its wings and screamed, idiot, idiot, there is an idiot here. Li Luyao stretched out his fist angrily. Little guy, if you scold me again, believe it or not, I will stew you. Stupid, stupid, stupid. The owl was so frightened that it flew into the sky and flew out in despair, not forgetting to curse a few more times before leaving. After driving away the demon messenger, Li Luyao happily greeted everyone. Let's go, the trial has begun. The International Hotel must be full of dangers. Let's go directly to the boss behind the scenes and clear the level in one fell swoop. Xu Ning scratched his head and said uncertainly, but that all just said that tonight's trial has been cancelled. If you act without permission, you will be directly disqualified from the exam. Li Luyao said confidently, the owl's words are just to deceive an honest person like you. Smart candidates wouldn't think so, right A-chun? Ah-chun was playing cards with an expressionless face, silently admiring his 9 lotus lantern without saying anything. He really finally got a good hand of cards, but he was afraid that Li Luyao wouldn't let him finish the game, so he said anxiously, Captain, you were right, we all listen to you, don't be anxious, we will set off as soon as we finish playing this hand. Under the night, Li Luyao's team finally left the secret base and set off again. There is no trace of demons in the empty streets. Occasionally, I encounter some passing candidates, whose expressions disappear in a hurry into the distance. Li Luyao didn't know where the International Hotel was, but he believed that the demon messenger must have informed all the candidates in the town, so he only needed to follow those who had been deceived, and he would definitely be able to reach the destination. As for what to do after we arrive, well, let's wait until we get there. Scout, what's the fighting situation nearby? Is there any danger? Li Luyao gave orders, but Ah-chun's mind was still immersed in the 9 lotus lantern grand slam just now, and he had no time to pay attention to him. He asked instead, your spiritual power perception is no worse than mine now, can't you see for yourself? Hey, if I do everything, wouldn't that make you look useless? I'm giving you a chance to show off. Xu Ning said stupidly. Captain Li, you don't have to worry about our feelings, just take action boldly, you can do whatever you want. He Rui also said, it is a great blessing to be a salted fish. Captain, the task of protecting the world is left to you. If the sky falls, just hold on. Quote. Li Luyao was speechless. No. I won't allow you to give up on yourself like this. Cheer up, the devil might be ambushing you. Stay alert. Good. As you command, Captain. No problem, Captain. Everyone said this, but their actions were very perfunctory. They were all listless, as if they were going to study in the evening, and their minds were only thinking about what to eat for midnight snack after school. Only Li Luyao conscientiously developed his spiritual perception, always paying attention to the movements around him. There was no demonic aura nearby, and there were spiritual energy fluctuations from strange classmates ahead. Everyone moved toward the southeast, and did not encounter any danger for the time being. Good guy, where did those demons go? They can't sense any breath. These guys are really good at hiding their traces. Li Luyao muttered, leading the team to approach the destination unknowingly. The so-called International Hotel is not a magnificent five-star international hotel, but a bunker-like building full of the atmosphere of the last century. The building is 8 stories high and has about 67 rooms. On the side facing the outside, most of the rooms are brightly lit. Over in the reception hall, the deceived candidates were queuing up to check in, and the sounds inside could be heard from a distance. Hey, I feel really sad for these students. Soon they will be wiped out by the devil and driven out of society. Do you think I should be a good person and save them? Li Luyao asked hypocritically. In fact, he would never do such a thankless thing. If you want to live an easy life, you must give up helping others and respect the fate of others. Otherwise, how disgusting would it be if he went up to explain, but those fools didn't listen at all and said he was crazy. Ah Chun suddenly said, "This building is the invigilator's dormitory. Do you think there is something wrong here?" Li Luyao didn't understand what she meant. He Rui also said, "There are many proctors living inside. No matter how stupid the devil is, he will not attack here." Captain, are we making a mistake? Li Luyao narrowed his eyes and said mysteriously, as the saying goes, the most dangerous place is often the safest place. Because this place is full of invigilators, everyone in this building will let your guard down and think it's safe here, and this is the opportunity for the devils to strike. Mo Wangshu rolled his eyes. You are really good at talking, so tell me who the devil is going to appear tonight. When will it appear? Where should we catch it? Li Luyao chuckled. Don't worry, when everyone is asleep in the middle of the night, the demons will definitely rise up and attack. We just need to wait and see, and we can catch them. Ah Chun said coldly, I think you are a little confused. There is no aura of demons here. Demons can't appear out of thin air. Why can't it appear out of thin air? Li Luyao retorted. Look at the demons we have encountered in the past few days, which one didn't suddenly come out and kill them by surprise. Those guys can hide better than mice. Don't take it lightly. Li Luyao's words made everyone stunned. Although everyone was unwilling to blow the cold wind outside, they still believed in the captain's strength and judgment and were willing to follow him. Of course, we are not waiting here. It will be 8 o'clock soon. An old man will come to me to play chess. We can win a sum of magic cores from him. These are points delivered to our door. Don't waste it. Quote. Just as he was talking, an old man suddenly walked over under the night with a chessboard in his arms. He was thin, wearing a gray gown, and his hair and beard were all white. He looked very pitiful, with only one pair of bright eyes, leading the young man. The heroism of people makes people unable to help but look at them more. When the old man heard Li Luyao's nonsense, he immediately cursed. Good boy, are you so confident that you can beat me? I've been thinking about your game during the day. It's not a glorious win for you. I will definitely kill you later. Crying for father and mother, I will never give you a chance to cheat. Li Luyao was very happy when he saw the old man Qi Ling coming uninvited. He rubbed his hands and said, Old man, you are really punctual. In chess, it is normal to lose and win. Don't just compete with me. I brought some people here today, why don't you try it with them too? Old man Keeling glanced at everyone, only staying on Ah Chun for a moment, and said, Apart from you and that little girl, no one else is qualified to play chess with me. If you have to play, you will be seeking your own death. Xu Ning was not happy when he heard this. Why do you, an old man, look down on others? I have been playing chess since I was a child, and my chess skills are very good. If you don't believe me, let's have a competition. Old Qi Ling asked. Oh. What kind of chess do you know? Xu Ning said proudly. Go back, flying chess, flag, checkers, beast chess, you can choose whatever you want. Quote. Old Qi Ling looked at Li Luyao. Is this the person you brought? Li Luyao smiled awkwardly and quickly changed the subject. How about we stay here? I have a mission and it's not convenient to go elsewhere. The old man Qi Ling shook his head and said with a serious expression, no, Lord Dracula has already set his sights on this place. He will get angry if we play chess here, so we'd better move to another place. Li Luyao blinked. Who is Lord Dracula? A very powerful guy. It is the king of Dead Town, what do you think? It was the one who destroyed this town in the first place. All the demons here obey it and regard it as king. I suggest you not to cause trouble to it. If you encounter it, run away immediately. The further away the better. What I said is right. Sure enough, a big boss is eyeing this place. Li Luyao turned back to show off to his teammates, and immediately asked, Old man, can you tell me about Dracula? For example, what type of demon is he, what kind of abilities can he use, and what is his special move? The old man Keeling said displeased Ly. I'm here to play chess, not to chat with you. Do you want to play or not? Down, 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 of course. Li Luyao didn't want to miss this opportunity to increase his points and get to know the boss behind the scenes. I'm going to win later, so you have to tell me about your Lord Dracula. I'm interested. The old man Qi Ling snorted coldly. We'll talk about it after you win. After that, he led the way without any fuss. Li Luyao thought he would go to a very far place, but in the end he only walked half a street. Then he sat down on the curb, put the chessboard on the ground, and pointed to the opposite position to signal his opponent to take a seat. Li Luyao wondered. Playing chess here won't disturb that Dracula. The old man Qi Ling said calmly. This place is just outside its warning range and will not attract its attention. Li Luyao silently wrote down this detail and asked curiously. You are so afraid of it, is it because you are also one of its subordinates? After hearing this, the old man Qi Ling immediately puffed his beard and glared, and cursed. What? You think I am also that stinking devil? To tell you the truth, I am a Qi Ling, and not those little things can compare. I am alive. 700 years, how old are those demons? In my eyes, they are no different from little kids. Staying away from them is just to avoid trouble. If we really want to fight, I will kill them with a chessboard, believe it or not. Trust, trust, trust. Li Luyao gave the old man a thumbs up and deliberately complimented. The old man is not only very good at chess, but he is also very good at breaking the chess board. It's amazing. Let these friends learn the chess skills of my seniors first. Let them feel better. The old man Qi Ling was very happy to be praised, and he happily agreed to the request. He stretched out his hand and pointed at Ah Chun. Then let this little girl give it a try. Good. Li Luyao gave Ah Chun a look. Come on, I'm optimistic about you. Unexpectedly, Ah Chun shook his head and said, I'm not interested. Li Luyao quickly tried to persuade him. This game is very simple. If you win, you can also get the magic core. Don't waste the points that come to your door. What if you lose? The old man Qi Ling smiled and said, if you lose, I will take away 10 years of your life. Don't scare her. Li Luyao was a little annoyed, but quickly changed his smile, patted Ah Chun on the shoulder, and encouraged, trust the boss's judgment, you can't lose with me. Oh, Ah Chun answered very coldly, but sat down opposite the old man very honestly, preparing for the game. The old man Qi Ling took out a handful of chess pieces from his arms, threw them on the chessboard with a clinking sound, and extended his hand to invite, little girl, pick the life you want. Everyone looked around and saw that the colorful chess pieces, big and small, suddenly transformed into many villains who looked the same as Ah Chun. Among those villains are men and women, old and young, queens and prostitutes, holy angels and dark succubi, mediocre small-town planners, world-famous human scientists, delivery people and companies. Accounting, there are university professors and training class lecturers. Each identity represents a kind of life, which was picked out from the heart of Ah Chun by the old man Qi Ling in a mysterious way. Of course, it may also be a simple blindfold game. The rules of the game are that Ah Chun needs to choose a completely different life, start an adventure in the chess game world, and survive successfully under the many obstacles set by the old man. Li Luyao had the experience of winning chess, and he probably knew which identity had a higher survival rate, so he immediately started gesticulating. Choose the queen, an angel is also good, or if it doesn't work, you can choose a scientist. The old man Qi Ling glared at him and cursed. You are a true gentleman watching chess without speaking. You are still shameless. Li Luyao was not polite and retorted, this hasn't started yet. Why are you so anxious? I'll kill you later and make you cry for father and mother. Don't say that we bully the elderly. The old man Qi Ling took out many magic cores from his pocket and said firmly, I have brought all my family's wealth here today. If you can, don't run away. I will fight you for 300 rounds tonight. Li Luyao drooled when he saw those magic cores, and asked curiously, let me tell you, since you are not a demon, and you are not one of Dracula's men, where did you get so many magic cores? The old man Qi Ling said proudly, I have killed more demons than the women you have ever seen. These demon cores are trophies. If you want them, you have to beat me on the chessboard. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Li Luyao couldn't figure out the details of this old man, and he didn't know what method this guy used to hunt demons. Was it to take away the opponent's life after winning the chess game, or to just hit people with the chessboard as he said? I choose this. Ah Chun hesitated for a moment and finally made a choice. Li Luyao looked in the direction of her finger, and his jaw almost dropped. Function girl. Why did you choose this identity? This looks like a hellish start, and it is basically impossible to win. Ah Chun said lightly, this identity is very interesting, isn't it? I can't guess what kind of life I will have like this. Quote. Li Luyao was speechless and equally curious. The transformation of Ah Chun, a charming literary girl, into a promiscuous woman is truly unbelievable and extremely eye-catching. Since she is a promiscuous woman, there must be many scenes that are not suitable for children. This kind of scene is very exciting when you think about it. It's a pity that only the two people playing the chessboard can see the sims on the chessboard. What other onlookers see is just some interactions between the chess pieces, which is really a pity. Ah Chun didn't care about other people's eyes, but the old man Qi Ling could see through Li Luyao's thoughts at a glance, and said with a smile, Kid, I know what you are thinking, but I may disappoint you. What do you want to see? No matter how curious you are, you will definitely not be able to see the content, and I won't tell you anything. Quote. Li Luyao said angrily, you bad old man is very bad. Don't think that A Chun is a little girl and easy to bully. If you dare to do anything wrong, I will be the first to beat you. Come on, I'm still afraid of you. The two of them exchanged words, neither giving in. Ah Chun closed his eyes, with a faint blush on his face, already immersed in the world of chess. Li Luyao and the others watched anxiously. They could only see that the chess piece representing Ah Chun on the chessboard was constantly interacting with other strange chess pieces, but they had no idea what was going on inside. Xu Ning shouted unhappily, Captain Li, this chess game doesn't look serious at first sight. I only played this kind of house game when I was a kid. Is there something wrong with this old man? He's using this kind of thing to fool us. He Rui also said, it's boring. Playing chess like this is so boring. It's not as fun as military chess. Li Luyao smiled and said nothing, not knowing how to explain. Ma Xiaoling suddenly said, Sister Ah Chun's spiritual power fluctuations are very chaotic. Is she okay? Li Luyao also noticed this and said, it's okay, this is a normal situation. The disordered spiritual energy fluctuations mean that she is encountering a special event in the chess game world. Don't worry, I'm here to guard you, this old man doesn't dare to do anything wrong. Quote. The old man Qi Ling said impatiently, you little fool for making so much noise. Stop being annoying here, Li Luyao said confidently, what's wrong with saying a few words? It's not an international competition, you old man. Old man Qi Ling interrupted. Look back and see, something happened at the International Hotel. Chapter 71. Something happened. Li Luyao suddenly looked back and saw a raging fire coming from the direction of the International Hotel, lighting up the entire night sky. There's a fire, let's go put out the fire. Xu Ning was the first to lead the charge and ran in that direction without thinking. Li Luyao quickly shouted, wait. What's the use of going alone? Let's go together. With that said, Li Luyao called everyone to set off, but the chess game on Ah Chun's side had just begun, which immediately made him a little embarrassed. Old man Qi Ling saw his concerns and kindly said, "Before the chess game ends, I will protect this little girl." Quote. Li Luyao was still worried, but Ah Chun suddenly opened his eyes and said calmly, "I will take care of myself." Li Luyao saw that she could switch freely in the chess game illusion, so he no longer worried, gave a few instructions and left with the others. Everyone ran a little further and soon saw that the fire in the building was gradually extinguished, and the howling ice and snow was raging, with a familiar smell, which was undoubtedly Zhou Rongrong's spell. At the top of the building, under the night sky, a withered, dead gray hand stretched out from the void, firmly grasping the entire building, seeming to uproot it. Such a strange sight made everyone stop at the same time. Everyone looked up at the sky and were so surprised that they were speechless. "Is this horse the real devil?" Xu Ning looked at Li Luyao tremblingly. "Captain Li, what should we do now?" Li Luyao frowned and thought, but didn't answer for a while. He Rui also said in horror, "I have never seen such a terrifying guy. Is it going to kill everyone in one go?" Mo Wangshu pretended to be calm and said, "We are definitely no match for a demon of this level. We should wait for the teachers to take action." Ma Xiaoling hid behind Li Luyao. "Are we really taking an exam? Why do I feel like the end of the world has come? How about we use the teleportation stone to leave?" Just as he was talking, bursts of white light were seen in the direction of the building, which was a sign that the teleportation stone was activated. Many candidates had already used the teleportation stone to leave the dead town. Those white lights only lit up for a moment, and soon disappeared again. Ma Xiaoling screamed, "Why is my teleportation stone broken? What's going on? Is yours still there?" He Rui searched for his own and saw that the white diamond-shaped teleportation stone in his hand was indeed broken into two halves and rendered useless. "This is terrible. If you want to go out, you have to find a way by yourself. Captain, call your motorcycle over quickly, let's ride out." Li Luyao nodded, whistled, and used the elementary necromancy skills he learned from Lu Wen to notify the will-o-wisp motorcycle to pick him up. After a while, the ghost fire motorcycle made a drifting turn and stopped nearby. Li Luyao said to He Rui, "You come and take them out for refuge on the bike." He Rui asked back, "What about you?" Li Luyao rolled up his sleeves and said with a smile, "Of course I'm going to fight that devil." "Ha!" He Rui was stunned again and said in disbelief, "You don't want to die?" Mo Wangshu also said with a straight face, "If you don't leave, then I won't leave either." Xu Ning, "Captain Li, let's go together and stay together. We will never leave anyone behind." Ma Xiaoling, "Captain, I feel that this exam may end early. I have never seen such a big battle before. There must be something wrong. Otherwise, we should withdraw first." Li Luyao smiled and said, "I can also see that this is not like an ordinary exam content. Something may have gone wrong, so." Before he finished speaking, a gust of black wind suddenly hit, and with it came more than a dozen goat demons holding candles. Each one was about 2 meters tall, standing on 2 legs and walking upright. The candlelight reflected the evil face. "It seems particularly penetrating. Okay, it's too late to run away now. You stay on guard while I go and deal with them first." Li Luyao's body flashed and he came directly in front of a goat demon, and greeted its head with a flaming fist surrounded by golden flames. The goat grinned, and its body turned into black smoke and dispersed. It actually ignored Li Luyao's attack and flashed towards Mo Wangshu and Ma Xiaoling. "You bunch of lustful goats, come at me if you have the guts." Li Luyao saw their intentions and immediately commanded remotely, "Defend first, don't let them get close." Xu Ning stood at the front with her hands raised high. He Rui formed a wall of wind around him. Mo Wangshu's palms were filled with flames waiting for an opportunity to strike. Ma Xiaoling shrunk her neck and did not dare to look at the devil, silently using restorative magic to give everyone souls. Powerful blessing. The goat headed by it passed directly through Xu Ning, tearing away the wind wall, reaching out to Mo Wangshu with its big hand, and just as it was about to touch her hair, a fireball instantly hit its eyes. The flames ignited and quickly ignited the goat's eyes and fur. However, this attack had no lethality. It had no other use except making these monsters look more ferocious and terrifying. Help! Mo Wangshu was grabbed by the hair and pulled into the air by the goat demon, and his screams echoed throughout the sky. Fortunately, Li Luyao turned back in time to kill him, and while the goat demon was lusting after him, he broke its neck with one punch. The master likes the blood of little girls. The master likes virgins the most. The master wants more and more sacrifices. The goat's head that fell to the ground did not die immediately. It repeated those words like a wheel, as if conveying some instructions. The demon team that lost one of its companions was not greatly affected, but instead began to launch more violent attacks. Li Luyao didn't like to protect his teammates while fighting at the same time, so he shouted to Hirui, "Hurry up and take everyone away on the bike, and remember to take Ah-chun with you." Hirui, who had experienced the strength of the devil, no longer hesitated and immediately got on the motorcycle. "Get on the motorcycle. We will only drag the captain down here." Xu Ning and Ma Xiaoling got into the car one after another. Only Mo Wangshu was still angry. "What will you do if they are all gone? No matter how strong you are, can you kill all the demons?" While dodging the demon's attack, Li Luyao waved his fist at her. "Take care of yourself first. We'll see you again by fate." As he said that, Hirui suddenly used a wind spell to pull her into the car, then started the accelerator and rushed into the distance. After watching his teammates leave, Li Luyao finally breathed a sigh of relief, stretched out his muscles seriously, grinned and said, "Come on, everyone, I'm going to hit 10. Interesting, the corpse is talking. The goat demons all around said in unison, "With the will of Count Dracula, I will launch a soul judgment on you." Li Luyao said happily, "You idiots, like you want to judge me. Give me a flaming punch." The fist as high as a mountain burst out with bright sparks. Li Luyao no longer hid his strength and directly used all his strength, intending to quickly deal with the group of guys in front of him, and then go to find trouble with the boss behind the scenes. The goat demons from all directions felt the danger coming, and began to flash in place quickly. The figures were erratic like will-o'-the-wisps, and seemed to be moving closer and overlapping in a certain direction. Fire Fist. Calling out the name of a move before making a move is standard for protagonists in hot-blooded comics, and Li Luyao is certainly not exempt from this custom. He confirmed that he clearly saw the movement patterns of these miscellaneous fish, and he also had the belief that he would hit when he punched. However, when all the demons merged into one and turned into the true form of the goat, a candle appeared out of thin air and blocked his punch. Offensive. Be judged, corpse. The flame of the candle was extinguished in an instant, and the next moment it came to Li Luyao and lit his school uniform on fire. "What the hell is this?" Li Luyao shouted that it was bad and wanted to put out the flames, but found that the fire was not an ordinary fire. It had neither temperature nor heat. It was like an inexplicable halo effect hitting his body, which looked a bit funny. "This is the fire of hell. It is not your body that is burning, but your soul." So explains the goat demon. Li Luyao complained, "How come you demons are all weaklings who dare not stand up to you? It's really boring to know how to use these tricks all day long." The goat demon did not speak and continued, "All the evil things you have done during your lifetime will be revealed to the world in the fire of hell. No matter how you hide it, it will be useless. And I will judge your soul fairly and selflessly, give you the most severe punishment and knock you down to the 18th level of hell." Li Luyao was happy when he heard this and said with a smile, "Master, I haven't had time to do any bad things in my life. Is it too early for you to judge me now? Okay, if you don't do bad things during the day, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking on the door at night. Young master, I am not afraid of the shadows as I stand upright, so just let your horse come over." The goat demon had a solemn expression and a solemn face. His dark eyes stared into the depths of Li Luyao's soul, trying to find out the crimes that were common to all humans. Li Luyao temporarily stopped attacking and stood there with his hands folded. He could feel a blue flame rising inside his body. The flame was extremely hot and was burning his 3 souls and 7 souls, as if there were countless ants. The food in my heart felt unpleasant. At the same time, many past events in my 18 years of life gradually emerged in the flames. The trial has begun. I will state your crime in the name of Count Dracula. The goat demon pointed at Li Luyao and started talking nonsense. When you were 3 years old, you poured boiling water into an ant nest and slaughtered nearly 1,000 young creatures. This is a crime of genocide. When you were 4 years old, you caught a dragonfly, tore off its wings, blinded its eyes, and tortured it to death. During the summer vacation when you were 5 years old, you killed hundreds of earthworms to catch lobsters. When you were 6 years old, you peeked under a little girl's skirt, stole a bra hanging in the yard, and committed many hooligan crimes. When you were 7 years old, you copied your deskmate's homework, lied to teachers and parents, secretly altered your report card, and secretly insulted the principal. When you were 8 years old, all your family members voluntarily sacrificed their lives to Lord Satan, and you were the only one left alive. Instead of committing suicide, you still managed to survive until now. This is extremely disrespectful. When you were 9 years old, you got into fights at school, stayed up all night at the internet cafe, skipped school, and had a crush on the girl in the next class. 10 years old. The goat demon listed the crimes endlessly. Li Luyao became impatient and interrupted. Okay, I understand. Just tell me what crime you plan to convict me of. Death penalty. The goat demon looked at him angrily, seemingly frightened by the prisoner's countless crimes, and said randomly, there is no doubt that you will accept the most severe punishment. Death penalty, quartering on 5 horses. Compared with your crimes, the gallows and the guillotine both look extremely holy, and I have never seen a more vicious human being than you. Li Luyao was also happy and stretched out his hands. Then come, I want to see what other tricks you can use. The goat demon held the extinguished candle high and shouted to the sky, Honorable Count Dracula, please grant me your divine power to put this stupid human being to death. Drain his flesh and blood, burn his soul dry, 10 There is no place for him in the 8 hells, please allow me to completely erase him from the world. Good. Li Luyao interrupted. I agreed. The corpse doesn't talk. The goat demon shouted angrily, Hellfire, please start burning. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Luyao noticed that the flames in his body began to rise. Instigated by the unknown wind, the flames grew bigger and bigger, not only burning his soul, but also burning his 7 meridians and 8 limbs. Bones, even every pore on the body is not spared. It felt like being in a 60-degree high-temperature sauna. While the whole body was feeling hot, it was a rare moment of clarity. It was so comfortable that you could fall asleep directly. It doesn't look like you can use the fire of hell. It's not enough to massage me at this temperature, but it's not enough to burn my soul dry. Li Luyao stretched himself greatly and joked, or is it that your earl did not convict me? A good student like me, who is good at teaching and speaking, just made some mistakes that men make, so hell if you don't take it, it's hard to keep it in heaven, and you can only become a scourge in the world. No. This can't be. The goat demon's eyes widened with disbelief on his face. Your crimes are too numerous to describe. The fire of hell will burn you to ashes, but why? Li Luyao was overjoyed and said, your evil magic may be useful against those bad guys, but my soul is pure, and your hell fire has no effect on me. Your soul is pure. Fart. That is obviously the dirtiest soul in the world. Li Luyao shrugged. Of course my noble and pure soul is dirty and lowly in the eyes of a devil like you. It doesn't matter, we can't talk together. You have used up all your tricks, right? Now, but it's my turn. Li Luyao walked toward it with a smile. The golden flame surrounding his right fist was more blazing and dazzling than ever before. Fire fist. Amidst the roar, the huge fist penetrated directly through the goat demon's body, and black smoke flew away in the wind. The goat demon didn't know what went wrong with his soul judgment until his death. Li Luyao didn't let this guy die easily, and deliberately left it half alive because he had something very important to ask it. Stinky goat, you just said that 10 years ago my family voluntarily became sacrifices and gave their lives to Satan. What kind of devil is that Satan? What is its name? Where is it hiding now? Facing Li Luyao's angry questioning, the goat demon just grinned and said, Ignorant humans, the noble Lord Satan is of course the King of Kings, the highest level existence among demons. He is omnipresent and ubiquitous. You are not worthy to know its name. Yeah. Li Luyao tightened his hand on its throat slightly and continued to apply pressure. The goat demon's face began to twist, and his words were still full of ridicule. It's useless even if you kill me. I will be resurrected in hell before long, and then come back to the world. I will be stronger and braver by then. More bloodthirsty, one day I will. Li Luyao didn't give it a chance to finish speaking, and directly broke its neck. The body of the goat demon turned into black ash and dispersed in the wind, and a piece of the demon core fell to the ground. Li Luyao picked up the exploded magic core and confirmed that this guy was really dead, feeling a little regretful. He originally wanted to get some important information from the goat's mouth, but these guys seemed to be really not afraid of death. If demons could really come back from the dead, then torture would be of no use to them. You can still be resurrected in hell after death. Is it really impossible to kill these ghosts at all? Li Luyao complained and looked up in the direction of the building, where the fighting was still going on. The evil arm from the void is still firmly grasping the entire building, and the purple light blocks all the way out like a prison fence, turning the teachers and candidates who have not had time to evacuate the building into caged birds. Li Luyao had no time to think about whether the change in front of him was a test arranged by the examiners or a demonic attack. Since the enemy is right in front of him, he just gives it a go. It's a fight to the death anyway, and he doesn't have the slightest fondness for the devil. Li Luyao walked quickly to the reception hall. Through the purple fence, he could see many frightened students crowded inside. There were invigilators in suits maintaining order, and more people were trying to open the cage and break out. A sharp-eyed teacher saw Li Luyao outside and asked anxiously, "Which school are you a student from? Why are you still outside at this time? Didn't I tell you to gather at the hotel?" Li Luyao snickered secretly, thinking that luckily I was smart and didn't obey your assembly order, otherwise I would be a prisoner now. The teacher said again, "It's very dangerous here now. Leave quickly. Everyone's teleportation stones have failed. You'd better escape on foot." Li Luyao blinked and asked, "Let me tell you, is this the test question tonight, or is it an unexpected situation?" The teacher suddenly became angry. "This is not a drill. The demons in Dead Town have launched a general attack on us. The special recruitment exam has been cancelled. Now it is important for everyone to save their lives. Do you understand?" Oh, Li Luyao was a little disappointed after getting the answer. "Then what will you do if I leave? Will anyone come to save you? The people who escaped just now have called the police. Super police will come to rescue us soon. Director Zhou will protect everyone before then. Don't just stand here stupidly, run away." Li Luyao couldn't help but be startled when she heard the other party talking about Zhou Rongrong. It was said that that guy was the examiner of this special recruitment examination. With such a big mess happening right now, she must be very busy. If there were mass murders of candidates, she would definitely be blamed. Thinking of this, Li Luyao suddenly had more reasons to stay here. Anyway, there is no conflict between defeating the devil and helping Zhou Rongrong. If he could solve the trouble in front of him single-handedly, Zhou Rongrong would definitely look at him with admiration, and maybe even give him a kiss. Promise yourself or something. The more Li Luyao thought about it, the more excited he became, and he kept laughing stupidly, until a cry for help sounded in his mind. "Li Luyao, are you still alive? I'm in trouble here. The situation is very urgent. Of course it was Saola who called for help, but his voice disappeared before he finished speaking, which made people even more worried. Li Luyao was worried about what was going on inside the hotel now, so he immediately accepted the summons and disappeared out of thin air, startling the teacher opposite. As his eyes dimmed and brightened, Li Luyao came to Saola through the rift in time and space. He thought he would enter the hotel, but he didn't expect that the surroundings were pitch black with no light at all. He couldn't help shouting, "Saola, where are you? What the hell is this place?" "Hey, you're here." Saoli's voice sounded from behind. "I don't know where this place is. I originally activated the teleportation stone and planned to leave, but I was teleported here." Li Luyao frowned and said, "Where are the others? Everyone else is crazy. Many candidates have been driven crazy here. They kill each other and chop everyone they see, completely losing their minds." "Luyao, I'm sorry." A sharp knife struck Li Luyao's back from a completely unexpected direction. Saola was very strong, and the sharp knife was sharp enough. If he stabbed into the heart, he would definitely die. But Li Luyao only felt like he was bitten by a mosquito. Although his school uniform was punctured and his back was cold, the blade could not cut through the flesh at all, let alone cause any fatal injuries. "Are you crazy too?" A fireball lit up in Li Luyao's palm, illuminating Saoli's delirious face. There was a soft pop sound, and Li Luyao gave him a slap with his backhand. Wake up. You know how to ask me for help when you are riding a horse, you should have some sense. Cao Le said with a sad face. Lu Yao, I'm sorry, Lu Yao, I can't control my body at all. Everyone here is going crazy and killing each other. Please save them. Li Luyao reached out and threw it into the air, and the fireball in his hand suddenly shot up into the sky, illuminating the entire space with blazing light. I saw everyone on a rocky beach. The sea water roared in the distance. There were many people fighting together on the beach. Some used fists and feet, some used knives and guns, and some used teeth and nails. Everyone was like crazy. There is no sense at all. What the hell is going on? All the people who were teleported were intercepted halfway. What kind of demon has such a great ability? After the words fell, there was a burst of weird laughter in the air, and a voice that was neither male nor female said happily, "Hey, another guest is here. The drama today is really exciting, and I have filmed everything that happened here. Come down, it will spread all over the world tomorrow morning. If you want to survive, kill everyone you see, ha 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 ha." Li Luyao mocked. Are you making this boring battle royale game again? I said you demons are really a bunch of cowards. You know how to do such trivial tricks every day. You are really worse than trash. Oh, what a loud tone. Convincing people is an extremely elegant art. Don't you think it's funny to be stabbed to death by a companion who loves each other? Li Luyao shouted with a dark face. You are so funny, get out of here. Of course, the demon hiding in the dark would not show up obediently, and said with a smile, I will only appear at the award ceremony. If you want to see me, you must first win this game and kill everyone. Okay, you have to play this cat and mouse game, right? I will play with you. Li Luyao was so angry that he gritted his teeth, but calmed down. While chatting with the devil, he secretly activated his spiritual perception to try to understand the situation on the entire beach. He soon discovered that this place was not big, at most the size of a football field. It was more like a virtual space than a real place. Those students who were intercepted here during the transmission were undoubtedly brought into a space-time rift by the devil's special ability. This place has no time, no sunlight, no past, and no future. It is almost an eternal prison. As long as the devil is willing, it can lock everyone away for 1,000 years. In just 2 days, Li Luyao has seen many strange demons. These demons' abilities may seem strange and powerful, but they are far from invulnerable. Just like the guy hiding in the dark now, although it can lock students here to play boring killing games, Li Luyao can still fall from the sky through Cao Li's summoning magic, which shows that this space is not monolithic. Many ways can be passed between them. Lu Yao, punch me quickly and knock me out, I can't control myself again. Cao Le next to him raised his dagger tremblingly, apparently being bewitched by the devil and losing his mind again. Li Luyao glanced at him, raised his hand and knocked the dagger away. If I knock you out, wouldn't the summoning be interrupted? If I'm going to be sent away, who will rescue you? Cao Le said aggrievedly. This exam is too evil. I never thought that I would meet so many terrifying demons here. We can't even go back home now. We are afraid of dying here. I am so unwilling. Li Luyao reluctantly comforted him. Hope for something better, don't have to live and die all day long. The fact that you can use summoning to send me in means that this place is not so heavily guarded. Why don't you continue to try? Call Zhou Rongrong over to help. Call teacher Zhou over. Cao Le thought this method was good, but soon encountered another problem. But now I am dizzy, hungry, and have no strength at all. Let alone summoning teacher Zhou, I don't even know how to summon you. No. Li Luyao smiled. This is simple. I'm an expert in the restoration system. Don't talk about spiritual power, food, or magic. It's no problem even if I'm passing on skills. Just watch it. He held his breath and quickly entered the state. Suddenly he raised his hand to grab something in the air, put it to his mouth and blew it gently, and a golden magic bread appeared in his hand. It contained the most refined and pure spiritual power, which is what every superpower person dreams of. A panacea. Quickly, eat him quickly. I have a hunch that this thing will definitely be useful to you. Li Luyao sent the magic bread over. Cao Le was still hesitating. Suddenly, there were shouts and curses from all around, and a group of delirious students came over to kill him. Kill this kid, whoever kills him will be the champion. Get out of the way and watch me beat him to death. Your butt is so rotten, look at my Pegasus meteor fist. Li Luyao had no interest in fighting with them at all. As soon as his body flashed, he cried for his father and mother, and everyone who dared to come within 3 feet was beaten to the ground. Interesting, interesting. You are indeed the chosen one. The winner of this battle royale must be you. Don't just stand still, you have to take the initiative. The devil whispered in his ear, and Li Luyao attacked from left and right like swatting flies. He failed to catch the devil, but he killed a few unlucky guys who came to attack him. Seeing that Saola still didn't move, Li Luyao simply took action and stuffed the piece of magic bread directly into his mouth. Saola coughed several times in pain, and soon his face turned red and his eyes became normal, revealing a clear sense of stupidity. Awesome brother, this is really the most delicious food I have ever eaten in my life, can you give me more? Saola stupidly continued to ask for bread, and Li Luyao said angrily, Eat, 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 you know how to eat, hurry up and summon Zhou Rongrong over here. Ah, okay, let me try. Saola concentrated on the summoning technique, and the demon hiding in the dark immediately sensed something was wrong and commanded a group of weak chickens to come and interrupt. With Li Luyao protecting him, Saola didn't have any worries. He successfully used the summoning technique to find Zhou Rongrong, but the other party was obviously too busy to pay attention to him. No matter how he called, Zhou Rongrong didn't answer the call. Dear Teacher Zhou, you should come here quickly. All the classmates who used the teleportation stone were caught by the devil, and not one of them escaped. We are locked up here, and we can't call the police to call people over. Come here quickly. Help. Saola begged his grandfather to sue his grandmother, and finally asked the great god in the distance. As a meteor flashed across the night sky, a crack was torn open in the closed space. Zhou Rongrong followed a piece of ice and snow, her expression as cold as if she had just applied a layer of foundation. She raised her eyes and saw Li Luyao, frowned and said, How come you were caught too? No, I wasn't caught. I came to save the situation, but this demon is a bit evil. Zhou Rongrong didn't hear what he said and thought to herself, I didn't expect someone to ambush here. It seems that these guys are really well prepared and want to completely cut off our retreat. The demon Gigi in the dark smiled and said, Little girl, you have been surrounded. Count Dracula will catch you all. No one can leave the town tonight. Yeah, Zhou Rongrong snorted coldly, suddenly raised a finger and pointed at the night sky. A bright ice crystal ray suddenly condensed between the slender and white fingers, and suddenly blasted towards the dome. Rumble, the ground shook, and a crack was torn open in the sky. Countless seawater rocks poured out and began to escape to another space. Children, all evacuate. The exam is over. Someone will take you home. Zhou Rongrong reached out and made a move, and the students trapped on the beach flew into the sky at the same time, flying towards the rift in space. Saola and Li Luyao were also dragged into the air by an invisible force, and were about to leave with the large army. Li Luyao quickly shouted, Teacher, what will you do? Why don't you go with us? Zhou Rongrong showed a wry smile, which made her exquisite little face take on a certain tragic tone. There are still many people in the town who have not escaped, and I must save them. That Dracula is not easy to deal with, I have to immediately go back. Li Luyao, if I die, remember to go to my basement and see what you want. Let's talk. A piece of ice and snow flew by. Zhou Rongrong cut off the summoning magic and was sent back to where he came from. Li Luyao did not dare to delay. Seeing that Saola successfully left through the time and space rift, he quickly cut off contact with Saola and was sent back to the outside of the hotel. Zhou Rongrong was already determined to die. He couldn't continue to make soy sauce here. Now is the time for heroes to save beauties, so you must seize this God-given opportunity. Outside the international hotel, Li Luyao reappeared and startled the invigilator again. Where did you go just now, and why did you come back suddenly? Do you know how to teleport? The teacher who was trying to open the cage was covered in sweat. When he saw Li Luyao, he couldn't help but get angry. Which school are you from? Why are you coming back if it's so dangerous here? Li Luyao had no time to chat with him, and suddenly stretched out his hand to hold the purple fence in front of him. There was a hot burning sensation in his hand, accompanied by a strange surge of blood, which made him gasp for breath unconsciously and quickly suppressed his restless heart. He used both hands to try to forcefully break the railing, but the pillar was very strange and made of unknown materials, yet it was unscathed in his hands. Something is wrong. Li Luyao continued to exert force until the palm of his hand was almost bleeding, but the fence remained motionless, not affected by his will at all. Who is that Count Dracula? Is it possible that his strength is completely superior to mine? Li Luyao thought like this, and a rare trace of self-doubt arose. Before that, he had always believed that Zhou Rongrong was the only real strong person. After all, that guy was proficient in dozens of superpowers and was indeed a step above him. As for the opponent that even Zhou Rongrong needed to take seriously, he didn't care much. Anyway, the so-called demons were just a bunch of cowards who could play some boring tricks and were really not worth mentioning. It wasn't until he was blocked by the row of inconspicuous fences in front of him that he became a little more serious. If he couldn't get through this cage, how could he be a hero and save the beauty and beat up the hateful Count Dracula? Just as he was thinking about it, there was a sudden movement on the other side of the fence. The teachers and students in the hotel launched an indiscriminate attack. For a while, lightning and flames flew all over the sky, fighting in a mess. Are you crazy about riding a horse? Why do you even beat one of your own people? I don't know, I can't control myself, what's going on? Don't blame me for being rude if you take action again. I really didn't want to hit you. I couldn't control myself. Please reflect on whether it's your own problem. Attention everyone, there is an unknown demon sneaking in. All sane people come to the lobby on the first floor, hurry. Seeing the chaos in the hotel lobby, Li Luyao was really unable to exert any strength. He could only watch them kill each other. After a while, many people fell down and the floor was stained red with blood. That demon in the space-time rift is here to cause trouble again, isn't it? Li Luyao was extremely angry. Although Zhou Rongrong rescued people in the time and space rift just now, he did not find out the culprit behind the scenes, so that he allowed that guy to continue causing trouble. There was a huge melee between teachers and students, and there were many A-level ability users among them. The fight was really going to kill people. Li Luyao became more and more anxious as he watched, but he couldn't think of a way to tear open the fence, so he kept jumping around like an ant on a hot pot. Suddenly, an engine roar sounded from behind, and the familiar car lights shone on him. Hirui was riding a motorcycle and came back with several teammates. Li Luyao said blankly, "Didn't you leave? Why are you back again?" Hirui pointed at A-chun in the front seat and said with a wry smile, "A-chun said he would come back to help you, and we can't let you fight alone." Li Luyao smiled and asked, "Have you finished playing chess?" Ah-chun nodded. "It's over. Win or lose, win all the magic cores in the old man." "Awesome. As expected of you." Li Luyao gave a thumbs up sincerely and said quickly, "Smart Ah-chun, come and help me figure out how to break down this fence. The people inside are going crazy, we have to go in quickly to help." Ah-chun got out of the car, took a closer look, and said casually, "Have you ever tried to break through with violence?" "I tried it, but I can't open it even with all my strength." "Oh." Ah-chun was silent for a moment, then suddenly stretched out a hand to hold the fence and said lightly, "You have to use blood. This is the ability of the blood demon. Using blood can make it change its state." Okay. Li Luyao had full confidence in Ah-chun. After all, he was a professional sensory scout, so he immediately bit his finger and let the blood drip on the fence. The fence was stained with blood, and sure enough, it began to twist. Countless mouths with sharp teeth appeared on the originally smooth surface, greedily grabbing the blood that fell from the sky. "That's disgusting." Li Luyao seized the opportunity and attacked immediately. The flaming fists surrounded by golden light fell like raindrops, and a big hole was immediately blasted out. Li Luyao took the lead and got in first, and everyone followed at the same time. He was worried about the safety of his teammates and ordered, "Stay here and subdue those delirious guys. If there is danger." Before he finished speaking, a long knife came flying towards him. Li Luyao turned around and kicked the man away. Suddenly he remembered something and said anxiously, "Forget it, you might as well go in with me. It's better. But before that, eat these magic bread." Like a magic trick, Li Luyao made a move with his hands, and suddenly there were 5 pieces of golden magic bread in his hand. Hirui was surprised and said, "What is this?" "Shu Ning. It looks delicious, Captain Li, how did you know I'm hungry again?" Ma Xiaoling. Is this the legendary magic bread? It looks delicious. Mo Wangshu resisted. I don't want to eat food of unknown origin. Ah Chun also shook his head. I don't need it. Eat it quickly, it will be good for you. Li Luyao stuffed one into each person's hand and said seriously, this is the captain's order, no one can refuse it. He Rui and Xu Ning took the lead in eating, looking like crazy people and enjoying themselves endlessly. Ma Xiaoling tasted it in small bites with relish. Ah Chun was forced to eat half a slice, and Mo Wangshu was not spared. How do you feel? Is it the most delicious food in the world? Do you feel that your spiritual power has increased greatly and your fighting power has exploded? Li Luyao asked happily, and Xu Ning said stupidly, I feel like I can eat a cow now. He Rui. My body seems to have become lighter. Ma Xiaoling. Wait a minute, I haven't finished eating yet. Of course I have to eat such precious magic bread slowly. Ah Chun remained silent, his face full of disgust. Only Mo Wangshu blinked and said in surprise, I seem to be advancing for the second time. As she spoke, flames surged all over her body, lava condensed in her hands, and her long black hair turned into bright red. Her whole body was like a phoenix reborn from the ashes, bursting out with astonishing spiritual power. The fluctuations are almost impossible to contain the restless magic elements. It's so hot. I want to fight. I just said it's good for you, now believe it. Li Luyao's excitement was even happier than that of Mo Wangshu, who had advanced for the second time. He quickly greeted the others. You should also feel it carefully to see if you are about to awaken too. Xu Ning said stupidly. Captain Li, I think I'm going to evolve into a Super Saiyan soon. He Rui looked sullen as if he was constipated. I have become stronger, but only a little. Ma Xiaoling shouted. I haven't finished eating yet. Ah Chun had no expression on his face and remained calm. It seems that everyone's opportunities are different. You may not be as lucky as the eldest lady. Li Luyao sighed, no longer wasting time, and led everyone into the hotel lobby. At this moment, the teachers and students staying here have been divided into two groups. One side is conscious and has not been bewitched by the demon, while the other side is covered in blood and transformed into a blood demon, with teeth and claws showing, completely losing its human appearance. Li Luyao's appearance made everyone overjoyed, thinking that rescue had arrived. But when they saw a group of little kids, they suddenly became disappointed and cursed. Where did you come from? It's too dangerous here. Hurry and call outside the town. Police. Li Luyao didn't have time to explain, so he grabbed a teacher and asked, where is Zhou Rongrong, where is she? The examiner is at the back on the top floor. You, where are you going? Come back quickly. The corridor was clogged with an indescribable viscous liquid, like someone's ketchup poured all over the floor. Mo Wangshu raised his hand and condensed a cloud of fire, carrying everyone upwards. Li Luyao guessed that Zhou Rongrong was probably fighting the boss alone at the moment, focusing on rushing to the top floor, completely ignoring the mobs around him. Arriving at the third floor in one breath, a wall of ice and a wall of blood both blocked the way. The pursuers behind him were dealt with by his teammates. Li Luyao smashed through the ice wall with one punch, then used blood to break through another blockage, and disappeared in front of him in a flash. The lights in the corridor further up were completely extinguished, and there were gushing blood and bloody monsters everywhere. Occasionally, a miserable cry for help could be heard in the corner. Li Luyao followed the voice while rescuing people and asking them to run away while frantically looking for Zhou Rongrong. This place has turned into a hell on earth. It is hard to imagine who Zhou Rongrong is fighting. Finally, he sensed Zhou Rongrong's spiritual power fluctuations in the direction of the banquet hall, and at the same time there was another voice. Rongrong, as long as you agree to marry me, I promise to send these children out safely and never harm them. You are the examiner of this exam, even if you don't care about your own life, you have to think about them, right? You are everyone's beloved teacher Zhou, you will definitely not let them down, right? Li Luyao quietly came outside the banquet hall and saw that the entire hall was decorated as a grand wedding scene. A white man in a tuxedo knelt down on one knee with a gift box in his hand, followed by boys and girls, and hanging from the ceiling. A group of unfamiliar classmates who were unconscious appeared in a very strange situation. On the other side, Zhou Rongrong was wearing a pure white wedding dress. The floor-length skirt highlighted her elegant and proud figure. Under the veil was a beautiful and angry face. She was clearly an angry bride. I have agreed to your request and put on the wedding dress. Now it's your turn to let him go. You'd better fulfill your promise, Dracula. Wrong. I have been preparing for this grand wedding for 10 years. Can't you feel the good intentions at all? Don't worry, your students and subordinates are all witnesses of our wedding. Count Eula has always been true to his word and will never harm any guest. As long as you accept my wedding ring and marry me with the blessing of Satan, no one in this world can stop our happiness. Joe Rongrong's face was livid, and she didn't know what she was thinking. She insisted. First, open the blood cage that blocks the hotel. Second, let everyone in the building go. Third, cut off Satan's head and present it to me. Unless if you can do these 3 things, I will never marry you. Count Dracula whispered. Beautiful bride, I will not refuse any request you make. Letting the guests go is just a piece of cake. The only thing you can do is let me cut off the head of Satan. This matter needs to be figured out slowly. Don't act rashly. When you and I get married and join hands to conquer the demon army, Satan will be stepped on by me sooner or later. Don't worry, I will definitely become the king of the dark world, and you will become the most noble queen, mother. Honor the world and accept the worship of thousands of subjects. Now, please accept this wedding ring, and I will. There was a loud, bang, sound. The door to the banquet hall was kicked open. Li Luyao appeared at the door angrily and shouted, I object to this marriage. Joe Rongrong saw the person coming and asked doubtfully, Li Luyao, why are you here? Count Dracula frowned. Kid, this is not the place you should come to. Li Luyao didn't even think about it, and rushed over in a flash, hitting the guy's pale face with his golden fist. A fence made of blood appeared in front of Li Luyao's eyes in an instant. The next moment, the fence extended around and turned into a cage, completely trapping Li Luyao. There was no response when his huge fist hit the cage. Li Luyao made a decisive decision and bit his wrist. Using blood as a medium, he unstoppably broke away from the restraints, kicked Dracula away, and stood in front of Joe Rongrong. A trace of joy appeared on Joe Rongrong's face, but it quickly turned cold, and she said coldly, Didn't you leave? Why are you back to cause trouble again? Li Luyao wanted to touch her cheek or give her a hug, but he still held back and explained, You haven't left yet, how can I escape? I'm here to save you. Save you, big-headed devil. Joe Rongrong scolded. Reinforcements from outside the town will arrive soon. I'm here to use a delaying tactic to delay him. When the time is up, the crisis will naturally be resolved. Why are you causing trouble again? Li Luyao was also very angry. What a delaying tactic. Do you really want to marry this broken vampire? No, I'm the first one not to agree. Joe Rongrong raised her head. Whether I marry or not is my business, what does it have to do with you? If you marry him, you can get rid of the demon army and restore peace to the world. I think it's not a bad idea. That won't work either. Li Luyao argued with reason. If you need to be sacrificed in order to gain world peace, then the world would have been rotten already, and it wouldn't matter if we didn't save it. And how can you believe the devil's words? Are you a 3-year-old girl? This kind of thing is to have no idea. Joe Rongrong sighed and said helplessly, Then what can I do? That guy took many hostages, and I am the examiner of this exam. No matter what, I have to let everyone leave safely. If something must be sacrificed, I have been mentally prepared for it. Li Luyao didn't know where he got the courage. He grabbed Joe Rongrong's hand and said firmly, Don't take all the responsibilities on yourself. Don't you still have me? I will defeat this devil and save everyone here. Man, I won't let you sacrifice yourself. After saying that, he reached out and pinched Joe Rongrong's face gently, and said with a smile, You look really good today. Kid, let go of my bride. The German guy who had just been kicked away climbed up from the corner, spread his wings behind him, and in a flash, he came to Li Luyao's head, stared at him condescendingly, and said viciously, Rongrong has promised to be my bride, you kid is so rude, why do you oppose our marriage? Oh, really? Li Luyao looked up at him and realized that this blood demon was actually a legendary vampire. Count Dracula has the face of a European white man, and his face is pale and bloodless. His pupils are bright red, his ears are pointed, his lips are open to reveal sharp fangs, and there are big bat wings behind his back. He looks like an invasive alien species at first glance. You are the final boss, right? I'm sorry, your marriage has come to nothing. Rongrong will not marry such an ugly person like you. Li Luyao punched out unceremoniously. Count Dracula actually blocked his fist with one hand and said sneerily, "Kid, because of your status as a guest, I don't want to kill you. If you have any idea, please tell me right away. Roll. You are the one who needs to get out." Li Luyao's whole body strength exploded, no longer hiding any strength. The clenched fist bloomed with golden fire, huge power rose from the heel, the whole person rose into the air like a rocket, and he and his fists were all over the place. Gyula blasted toward the ceiling. There was a loud, rumbling sound, countless rocks flew, and smoke and dust rose everywhere. A large hole was directly smashed into the ceiling of the banquet hall. The two of them smashed countless bricks and tiles with one punch and one kick, and went straight to the open space on the top floor. "Kid, don't think that if I kill you, I won't be able to marry Rongrong. She is destined to be mine in this life, and no one can take her away." "Really? Then you have to ask me if my fist will answer first." Count Dracula was afraid and did not dare to use his full strength. Li Luyao had no scruples and just wanted to beat him down and save everyone. After going back and forth, Dracula was beaten and retreated one after another. It was not until he realized that Zhou Rongrong was rescuing people downstairs and that he had been transferred away from the mountain that he became furious. "You cunning humans want to use this trick to deceive me again." Count Dracula never tolerates any insult. "No one can live to see the sun tonight. Surge, wonderful blood, give it to me, drown everyone here." As he spoke, Li Luyao suddenly felt a surge of energy and blood oozed from his ears, nose, mouth, and eyes at the same time. His body and limbs gradually lost control and began to tremble for no reason. He watched helplessly as he was bleeding profusely, and the blood condensed into a huge blood ball around him, as if it was going to drain all the blood from his body. And below the building, countless screams were heard, and the blood tide controlled by Dracula began to rage. The chaotic demon hiding in the dark launched an attack at the same time, and was bound to bury everyone except Zhou Rongrong here. Suddenly a gust of black wind struck, and a dark shadow fell next to Count Dracula, saying respectfully, "Your Majesty Count, can you leave this brat to your subordinates? I want to make him into a general under my command. His body, I like the power very much." Count Dracula flatly refused. "No, I will skin this brat with my own hands, drink up all his blood, and turn him into a mummy." The Chaos Demon quickly said, "My Lord Count, don't you want to marry Miss Zhou? If you keep this brat as a hostage, Miss Zhou will definitely give in and hold a wedding with you honestly." "Oh, how can you see it? My Lord Count, you don't know something. This kid is Miss Zhou's disciple. Miss Zhou will definitely do anything for him. If you don't believe it, I will give it a try." The chaotic demon disappeared in a blink of an eye, and returned to the same place the next moment, saying happily, "The news that my subordinate has just been captured by this brat has spread, and Miss Zhou is already on her way. Oops, Miss Zhou, she is such a hot-tempered woman. I was stabbed by her just now and almost died." Quote. When Li Luyao heard these words, he immediately tried to regain control of his body. He was here to save people, not to hold them back. He didn't want to become Count Dracula's hostage to threaten Zhou Rongrong. If Zhou Rongrong was forced to marry because of him, he would definitely not forgive himself. "Stinky bat, come here and challenge me if you dare. Do you think you can control me with blood?" Li Luyao roared, and despite the excessive blood loss all over his body, he still burst out with terrifying power, and his whole body hit Dracula like a cannonball. "Stop being brave, you are no match for me." Dracula had his hands behind his back, with no intention of evading at all. A layer of blood armor silently covered his body, and no matter how Li Luyao attacked, he could not penetrate his defense. "Stay well, you will be a witness to our wedding, which is a great honor." Dracula flicked his fingers, and a line of blood suddenly appeared in the air, wrapping Li Luyao tightly, making him unable to move. At this moment, the door on the roof of the building was suddenly opened. Zhou Rongrong rushed over in a wedding dress and shouted anxiously, "Let him go quickly. No matter what you want to do, I promise you." Ha 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 ha. Dracula looked up to the sky and smiled, with indescribable joy in his laughter, and asked, Now, immediately, I want to hold a wedding with you. We will become a legal couple until death, and we will grow old together. Do you agree that we will not be separated for 10,000 years? Zhou Rongrong said coldly. As long as you let him go, I will promise you. Good. Dracula was about to untie the hostages when Li Luyao yelled, I don't agree. Amidst the huge roar, Li Luyao broke free from the restraints of the bloodline. He was like an evil ghost covered in blood. He suddenly leaned forward and hugged Count Dracula, biting his neck fiercely. If you drink my blood, I will also drink your blood. Let's see whose blood dries out first. Li Luyao went crazy and actually sucked Dracula's blood. He never thought that he would become a vampire. Zhou Rongrong on the ground stopped her loudly. Li Luyao, don't do this, we will be fine, please stop. Seeing Li Luyao's teeth biting through his neck, Dracula said calmly, this kid is looking for death. You can't blame me for that. Rongrong, you student is crazier than a devil. I think. Halfway through his words, he suddenly realized something was wrong and tried hard to pull Li Luyao away from him. However, the opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination, and the expected bloodline explosion did not appear. Not only was Li Luyao not affected by vampire blood, he also transformed it into his own power, which was something that had never happened before. You kid, go to hell. Dracula stretched out his hand, and immediately a bloody sword appeared in his hand, stabbing Li Luyao's heart fiercely. Zhou Rongrong below cast spells at the same time, and ice crystals blocked his attack, but the next moment the long sword still broke through the obstacle and pierced Li Luyao's body. Ah! With a cry of pain, Li Luyao finally let go of his teeth, looked at the long sword that pierced him, and grinned, you can't kill me, now you are the prey. You crazy person. Count Dracula roared and flew out, finally getting rid of Li Luyao's entanglement. How dare you drink my blood? You are crazier than a devil. Do you know the consequences of drinking my blood? Li Luyao laughed and ignored it completely. When he lost too much blood just now, he only felt that his whole body was cold, his hands and feet were numb, and he was dizzy. Fortunately, after drinking Dracula's blood, all these physical symptoms improved. Who says you have to deal with vampires with crosses, garlic and holy water? He draws my blood, and I drink his blood to see whose blood dries out first. Li Luyao was simply going crazy, chasing and beating Dracula without giving him any chance to breathe. Zhou Rongrong looked down below, and the more he looked, the more something was wrong. He shouted to stop. Li Luyao, please stop. You are in a very bad state now and may run away at any time. Please come back. Li Luyao Jie Shi Hu Zhen Ben Ting Bu Jin Ku, Kuang Xiao Dao, Ji Yao Nang Zhou Fan Jie Ji Mo, Ju Suan Bao Zhou Yu Xian Mi Guan Shi, Jie Ji Chou Bian Fu Ju Ran Shang Ku Ni, Jian Ji Shi Lai Ha Ma Shang Kai Tian A Ru, Hao Bu Yao Lian. I want him to kneel on the ground and admit his mistake to you. Zhou Rongrong said angrily, are you still obedient? If you want to go berserk, what's the difference between that and a devil? I won't allow you to do that. Li Luyao was slightly distracted in the air, and was immediately punched in the face by Dracula, who once again distanced himself. Rain of blood. Count Dracula raised his hands and formed a complex magic circle in the air. The originally cloudless night sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds and strong winds. Amidst lightning and thunder, a burst of blood rain fell from the sky. Arrow. Dracula reached out and made a move, and countless blood rain roared towards him. Following his gesture, it shot towards Li Luyao. There was no way to avoid such a large-scale attack. What was interesting was that Li Luyao had no idea of evading from beginning to end. If he meets an opponent who is willing to confront him head-on, of course he will enjoy the joy of fighting. Kick me to death if you dare, you stinky bat. Li Luyao only used his arms to protect his face, and his whole body was bombarded by countless blood arrows. Arrow after arrow broke through the wind, some shot through his knees, and some hit his chest. These weapons transformed from blood were actually sharper than blades, leaving bruises everywhere they touched, turning Li Luyao into a bloody man. Stinky bat, that's all you have. Now it's my turn. Li Luyao laughed and soared into the sky. At some point, a pair of wings made of blood appeared on his back, carrying him to the sky and the earth to fly as he pleased. Count Dracula's eyes widened and he said in disbelief, why do you, a brat, know the vampire's spells? What answered him was Li Luyao's heavy headbutt. The two foreheads collided, and Li Luyao's momentum was naturally stronger, knocking Dracula off balance and falling from the air. Batstorm. Count Dracula quickly came to his senses, his tuxedo suddenly unfolded, and his whole person turned into a black bat that covered the sky and the sun. Under their huge wings, countless vampire bats swarmed in despite the heavy rain and immediately wrapped Li Luyao into a dumpling. Those bats are bloodthirsty, and their targets are large and small wounds on Li Luyao's body. They tear open the flesh with their fangs and sharp teeth, greedily sucking the little blood on Li Luyao's body, and they can kill it in just a moment. Li Luyao turned into a mummy. Li Luyao. Zhou Rongrong watched anxiously from below, constantly using various elemental magics to try to rescue Li Luyao from being surrounded by bats. Count Dracula sneered and said, "Rongrong, this kid is looking for death, you can't blame me. Don't worry, I will leave him a complete body, so that he won't be reduced to ashes and not even a bone can be found." Zhou Rongrong wanted to curse, but suddenly she sensed that the spiritual power fluctuations on Li Luyao's body were very strange. He should have been on the verge of death after losing too much blood, but now the golden flame bottomed out and started to rise higher, gradually starting a wildfire trend. Ha ha ha, stinky bat, you disciples are so delicious. I haven't had such a feast in a long time. Under heavy siege, Li Luyao actually repeated his old tricks, letting the bats drink his blood while enjoying the feast delivered to his door, each bite crunchy, and he would not refuse anyone who came. Zhou Rongrong was simply stunned. Don't eat that dirty stuff, bats are poisonous. Count Dracula was overjoyed and said, "These bats under my command are all poisonous kings. Their bodies are rich in 100 kinds of ancient viruses and 100 kinds of deadly bacteria. You kid, just eat them. You will know what will happen later." And Li Luyao is not afraid at all. In his eyes, these bats are all delicacies that can restore energy. As for viruses and bacteria, his superhuman body has not died even after being stabbed through with a sword, so he still worries about such things. As long as Dracula can be defeated, the big things will have to be discussed tomorrow. In a short time, Li Luyao had eaten hundreds of vampire bats, and the remaining ones were so frightened that they fled in all directions. Obviously they had never seen such a monster before. Li Luyao's body surged with spiritual energy, golden flames, red blood stains, and huge bat wings behind him. He turned into a half-human, half-vampire. It is not known whether the vampire's genes changed him or whether he absorbed the vampire's genes, energy. Count Dracula felt a hint of danger coming, and suddenly flew high into the sky, saying, "Goodbye, kid, you are awesome. I have something important to do, so I won't play with you. If you can survive like this for a week, let's see you then." Want to run? Li Luyao frowned, the mark of the Blood Clan flashed between his eyebrows, and sneered, "From the moment you bullied Rongrong, there has been a fight to the death between us. Stop." After the words fell, Li Luyao flapped his wings and flew into the sky. His speed was far faster than Dracula. Blood. Before Dracula could cast his spell, Li Luyao punched him hard on the bridge of the nose, kicked him in the lower body, followed by elbows, knees, and headbutts. Every move is full of frontal force, nothing fancy, it's a genuine contest between men. Don't fight. Admit defeat. Why don't I just admit defeat? Don't tear off my wings. We are all vampires. Don't kill us. We are half-brothers. You can't touch it there. You can't touch it there. Dracula was beaten until his nose was bruised, his face was swollen, and his head was bloody. His clothes were torn, his wings were broken, and his fangs and teeth were chipped. The vampire count, who was an elegant gentleman just now, was now crying for mercy, and he no longer had any grace at all. There was a loud boom. Dracula was stepped on the roof platform, and the huge impact formed spider web-like cracks under him, making him look very miserable. Li Luyao pulled his head and said fiercely, "Stinky bat, apologize to Rongrong." "Apologize. I apologize. I'm sorry." Count Dracula did not hesitate and immediately apologized to Zhou Rongrong with a playful smile. Li Luyao slapped him. "Be honest. Tell me what you did wrong." I. Count Dracula thought for a long time before arranging his words. "I shouldn't covet Rongrong's beauty, I shouldn't covet her body, and I shouldn't mess with you, the devil, I." Enough. With a pop sound, Li Luyao slapped him a second time, and then looked at Zhou Rongrong, what should I do with this stinky bat? Should I kill it directly? Zhou Rongrong was originally smiling, but when Li Luyao asked, she immediately straightened her face and said, leave the rest to me. You immediately go to the intensive care unit of the Superpower Management Center to find Director Zhang, and tell me you are me. My brother, his life is in danger and he needs to be treated immediately. Li Luyao thought that the title of younger brother was quite good, and said happily, I'm fine. I don't need to go to any hospital. Besides, not all people here have been evacuated yet. I have to stay here to protect you. Zhou Rongrong said anxiously. Why don't you find a mirror and look at yourself? What do you look like now, and you still say you're fine? If you talk back, I'll be really angry. Okay, why don't I go? Li Luyao flapped his wings and slowly flew into the sky. What should I do with this guy? I will punish him on my own, so you don't need to worry. Zhou Rongrong waved her sleeves slightly, and a string of ice chains locked Dracula tightly, and ordered, unlock the spell here immediately. Count Dracula shuddered and said with a smile, I'm so sorry, once the secret technique of our vampire family is used, it cannot be taken back. Even if you kill me, hundreds of people will be buried with me today. You. Zhou Rongrong rolled up her sleeves to beat him, but Li Luyao didn't want to dirty her hands, so she immediately flew forward and kicked Dracula several meters away. Zhou Rongrong became even angrier when she saw it, and shouted, please calm down, now is not the time to fight. It's not that I want to take action, it's because this guy is so mean. It's really hard to bear. Li Luyao suddenly remembered something and asked, where is there another demon? Where did that guy go? Zhou Rongrong shook his head. Count Dracula refused to say anything. It seems that the trouble has not been completely resolved. Rongrong, I'm going to catch that devil. Zhou Rongrong's eyes widened. What did you call me? Li Luyao quickly changed his words. Teacher Zhou. Haven't I always called you Teacher Zhou? You'd better really call me Teacher Zhou. Ha ha ha, I detect a trace of demonic aura. Just wait, I'll come as soon as I can. Li Luyao found a way to fly downwards. The chaotic fighting in the building had stopped, and was replaced by a sea of blood. The huge purple cage disappeared without knowing when, and the entire town was submerged in a sea of blood. The highest tide was as high as 3 or 4 stories high. Countless people were sitting on mattresses, buckets, and rafts floating on the water. More the unlucky guy was swimming in the water and was knocked over by the waves. What's going on with this horse riding? Are we all going to drown? In panic, Li Luyao found his teammates. Hirui was still riding the Ghost Fire motorcycle, with more than 10 people hanging tightly on it, as if performing acrobatics, barely holding on without sinking in the bloody water. Li Luyao's appearance startled everyone. Mo Wangshu raised his hand and unleashed a pyroblast technique with such murderous intent that he almost hurt a hair on Li Luyao's body. Don't do it, we're on our own. Li Luyao said hello and planned to find some water to wash his face, but there was no place to wash his face in this sea of blood, so he had no choice but to come over and shout, I am Li Luyao. Mo Wangshu cursed. Fart. You shameless devil, you actually pretended to be the captain. How could my Luyao be a monster like you? Li Luyao stretched out his hand and wiped his face, which wiped away some blood stains, and joked, I'll lie to you that I'm my grandson. Fortunately, you confessed your love to me yesterday, but you didn't even recognize me. It seems that you are definitely not sincerely. Mo Wangshu blushed when he heard this, and said arrogantly, who confessed to you? Only my grandson confessed to you. You are really Li Luyao, how did you become like this? It's a long story. Li Luyao briefly talked about the battle experience on the roof just now, then immediately changed the topic and asked, what's going on with this flood? Where does it come from? Mo Wangshu didn't answer, and Hirui, who was driving, explained, didn't it rain heavily just now? I begged you, and it rained blood. The rain was just like lava, and whatever it encountered was turned into the bloody water will become like this in a short while. Captain, please think of a way. This motorcycle won't last long, we will drown here sooner or later. Li Luyao couldn't think of any solution for a moment, so he looked into the crowd and asked, where is Ah Chun? Where is Ah Chun? Akin said he went to catch the devil in the building, but he hasn't come back yet. Why did you lose the military advisor? I'm going to find her. Li Luyao said goodbye to everyone, turned back and flew towards the building, broke through the window directly and came to the 4th floor of the building. This floor has not been flooded yet, and there are no human figures in the empty corridor. There are only many blood marks remaining on the floor. There is no doubt that a battle must have occurred here. Li Luyao's senses were fully activated and he instantly found Ah Chun at the end of the corridor and the demon that had been hiding all night. Little girl, you are very powerful, stronger than anyone here. If you are willing to make a devil's agreement with me, we will be partners from now on. With your intelligence and my talent, what kind of SSS level superpower can you make? He is not our opponent. Even if he wants to conquer the world, it will be no problem. What do you think? The demon who was stepped on by Ah Chun suggested this. It has a slender body and a very strange appearance. It looks like a reflection and has no entity. At this moment, Ah Chun stepped on his tail and was twisting crazily on the ground, trying to escape. Li Luyao flashed and came directly to Ah Chun, reminding him, "Don't listen to this guy's nonsense, just kill him." Ah Chun said lightly, "This guy is a bit weird. It would be a pity to kill him. I want to keep him as a pet." Li Luyao was a little speechless. Ah Chun raised his head and glanced at him. "How did you do this? Have you also become a demon?" "No, I just absorbed the power of a vampire, so it looks a bit strange." "What is this guy's origin? What kind of demon is it?" The black shadow on the ground replied. "My name is Little Man, I am not a devil, I am just a shadow. I am a very good person and have never done anything bad." Li Luyao threatened. "If you don't want to die, just unlock the spell outside." The little man twisted his body, obviously very afraid of Li Luyao, and said frankly, "That is Count Dracula's secret technique. Once activated, no one can unlock it. Normally, it only takes a month to complete this piece of work. The sea of blood will naturally recede, we can just wait. A month, then the day lilies are already cold." Li Luyao had no interest in staying in this ghost place for a month, so he turned around and asked Ah Chun, "Do you have any good ideas?" Ah Chun shook his head. "You are making things too difficult for me." Li Luyao was silent for a moment, then suddenly blinked his eyes and said excitedly, "What time is it now?" "I don't know, it's probably almost early in the morning." Ah Chun replied perfunctorily. She didn't have a mobile phone or a watch on her. She had been working at sunrise and sunset for the past few days, and she had lost all sense of time. Li Luyao said anxiously, "There should be a clock in the hotel. I'll go look for it. Time is important, very important." Li Luyao was about to leave when the little man on the floor suddenly shouted, "I know the time, I know. I saw it digging and digging in its belly, taking out various swords, guns, swords and sticks, household appliances, women's underwear, newspapers and magazines, bread and fruits, and finally found a wall clock, which it happily held up in front of Li Luyao. 11:53, 11:53. I'm great, right, I'm useful, let me be your companion." The little man proudly went around claiming credit, but Ah Chun and Li Luyao ignored it and deliberately ignored it. "There are still 7 minutes left, so just wait. By the way, do you really plan to keep this little thing as a pet?" "That's what I thought, but it asked me to sign some kind of devil's agreement, so I think there's something wrong with it." "Devil's agreement?" Li Luyao touched his chin and asked the little man, "What the hell is the devil's agreement?" The little man said excitedly, "If humans want to cooperate with demons, they need to sign a demon agreement. Once the agreement is signed, humans can use the power of demons, and both parties will assume their respective obligations and responsibilities, becoming one twin being." "Yeah," Li Luyao snorted coldly. "You are a prisoner now, why should you negotiate terms with us? If you want to survive, be honest and obedient, otherwise I will crush you to death with one finger." The little man was so frightened that he rolled on the ground and did not dare to say a word at all. There is no doubt that the Li Luyao in front of him is more terrifying and powerful than Count Dracula. If he says he can be crushed to death, he will be crushed to death, and there is no point in resisting. "Master, you are the future king of the Blood Clan. I respect you and surrender to you from the bottom of my heart. Please spare my life." "Oh, no more talking about the Devil's Agreement. The Devil's Agreement is a way to deal with stupid humans, and of course it is not necessary for Master." Li Luyao sat on the stairs and crossed his legs. "Tell me, what abilities do you have? If you are a weakling, I won't want you. The little one is omnipotent in heaven and earth. The little one is good at disguise, assassination, stealing, monitoring, and following. The little one knows hundreds of special abilities. The little one is definitely a good helper. Please accept it, master. Get off me. Li Luyao nodded and said happily, okay. From today on, you will follow Ah-chun, and she will treat you well. No, the little man screamed. The little one only wants to follow his master. He doesn't want anyone but his master. Huh, you still started it, right? Li Luyao originally wanted to help Ah-chun get a pet, but he didn't expect that this little guy would take the initiative to get attached to it. Unfortunately, he didn't really have a good impression of demons or anything like that. Otherwise, having a little follower or something like that would really help him. Ah-chun, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke. Demons are creatures that always respect the strong. Since it recognizes you as its master, it's better to just accept it and use it as a secret weapon. Li Luyao smiled bitterly. Are you sure it will be beneficial to take this guy with you? Ah-chun nodded and said seriously. My ability to predict things tells me that this little thing will help you a lot in the future. Li Luyao thought for a while and quickly made a decision. That's okay. From now on, your name will be Xiao Haiden, do you understand? I understand. I understand. Little Haiden finally has a name. Little Haiden finally has a name. Thank you, master. Little Haiden was so happy that his shadow-like body was running around on the ground, turning into cute cats and dogs for a while, and a huge monster for a while. He didn't look like a serious devil at all. Calm down. Li Luyao leaned down and drew a vampire mark on it with his fingers, thus confirming the ownership of the master and servant. This action was almost subconscious, without any thought at all, and Li Luyao himself was shocked. Thank you for the honor given by the master. Xiao Haiden will be loyal to the master until death. The joyful little Haiden made Li Luyao lose his mind for a moment, and he realized that the vampire's genes had indeed affected his body to some extent. Is it really possible that I won't survive more than a week? Or will he become a vampire? Ah! Big head. There was a soft, ding, sound, and midnight came, and the golden panel appeared in front of you again after a day. Host: Li Luyao. Physique: 2560. Strength: 2946. Shenfa: 1920. Soul: 128. Huijin: 1344. Fortune: 12,672. A powerful force suddenly surged out of the body, and the golden spiritual power fluctuations burned like flames around Li Luyao, and the light was so bright that it could not be seen. Ah-chun and Xiao Haiden both had extremely keen senses. After witnessing this miraculous scene, they were so shocked that they were speechless for a long time. After a while, Li Luyao absorbed all this new power and confirmed that he had improved a lot again, more than twice as strong as he was yesterday. With his current strength, it would be effortless to defeat Count Dracula. Even the demon blood and vampire genes that are constantly surging in his body have become more honest and dare not act rashly. Ha 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 ha, it feels really good to become stronger. Li Luyao stretched out his right hand. Just a thought arose, and a golden ball of light immediately condensed in his hand. The next moment, the golden ball of light turned into a piece of delicious magic bread, which contained extremely powerful spiritual energy. Any bread ever made must be delicious and powerful. Ah-chun, I'll give it to you. Li Luyao stretched out his hand and threw it out. Ah-chun caught it blankly and blinked, as if he hadn't recovered from the shock. She has tasted the taste of magic bread. Before entering the building, she ate a piece of bread with a look of disgust. Not only did she instantly recover her physical strength, but she also replenished the spiritual energy consumed by playing chess with the old man Qi Ling. Although she was not able to advance directly for the second time like Mo Wangshu, she still benefited a lot and felt that it was a rare gain in this journey. The golden piece of bread in front of her was stronger than last time in every aspect. Her ability to foresee had even revealed to her that this was the reason why she came to take this exam. This was the most precious adventure in her life. Ah-chun swallowed and asked timidly, "Do you have to eat it now? Can I put it away first? I want to share some with my sister when I get home." Seeing Ah-chun acting like a little girl, Li Luyao quickly conjured up another piece of bread and sent it over, smiling, "You can have as much of this kind of thing as you want, don't treat it as a treasure. Come on, give this piece to your sister." Seeing his master's generosity, little Haydn on the ground immediately shouted, "Master, master, little Haydn wants it too, little Haydn wants it too." Li Luyao glared at him and said angrily, "Do you think this is cabbage in the field, and you want it if you want it? Just calm down, and I will naturally reward you when you perform meritorious services." "Woo!" Xiao Haidun cried aggrievedly, which made Ah Chun smile brightly, tear off a corner of the bread and throw it over. Xiao Haidun jumped up and picked it up in his arms. He ate it in small bites, and his liking for A Chun increased a lot. "Miss A Chun is so good. Miss A Chun will be my master's wife from now on, right? Only a girl as good as Miss A Chun in this world is worthy of my master." Ah Chun's face turned red and she took the initiative to change the topic and asked Li Luyao, "Do you have a way to solve the crisis outside now?" Li Luyao nodded, with a meaningful smile on his lips, looked out the window, and said lightly, "Yes, this is very simple. There must be light. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more."